Chapter 110. Li Shulan held a bank card in her hand and said, "I can testify for Dong. There's 3 million in this card." Li Cheng looked at her disdainfully and said, "Little sister, you're in your 40s. Why did you learn to cheat? Why don't you say there's 30 million in a card? How did I cheat? There's 3 million from Dong in this card." Li Shulan blushed. She tried hard to explain, but Li Cheng waved his hand impatiently and said, "Well, even if there's 3 million in your card, what's the use? We've just written it in the agreement that the 1 million must be in cash. No matter how much money is in the card, it doesn't count." The other three nodded. They didn't believe that there was 3 million in Li Shulan's card. They thought she just wanted to help Qin Haodong get away with it. Li Shulan looked at Qin Haodong and whispered anxiously, "Dong, what should we do now?" "Aunt, don't worry. I'm prepared." After saying that, Qin Haodong walked to the door, opened the door, and drove the black Honda that was parked at the door in front of Li Cheng and the others. After getting out of the car, he opened the back door and took out a box of Maotai. Everyone looked at Qin Haodong and didn't know what he was going to do. Zhang Feng sneered and said, "What? You don't mean the money is in this box, do you?" Qin Haodong ignored her. He tore open the box of Maotai and took out a bottle of Maotai. He looked up and said to Li Cheng, "Uncle, Grandpa raised me for so many years. I've always called you that since I was a child. Today is the last time I call you that. Since you don't care about the family relationship with Grandpa, I won't recognize you as an uncle anymore." Li Cheng curled his lips and said with disdain, "Do I care? It's better that there's no relationship between us. From now on, you don't know me, and I don't know you. That's the best. Let's end it today." Qin Haodong raised the Maotai in his hand and said, "Although I've been an outsider in your eyes since I was a child and you've been sneering at me, I've prepared a gift for you this time for the sake of Grandpa. I know you love to drink. You should recognize this, right? It's a 15-year bottle of Maotai, priced at 7,680 yuan per bottle. This box of wine was originally meant for you, but now it seems like there's no need for it at all." After that, he raised the bottle in his hand and smashed it hard on the ground. With a crisp sound, the Maotai was smashed into pieces. The liquor splashed everywhere, and a strong aroma of wine drilled into everyone's nostrils. Then, he picked up the remaining 5 bottles of wine and smashed them on the ground one by one. With the shattering of these bottles, it also marked that he no longer had any relationship with Li Cheng. This. Li Cheng didn't expect that Qin Haodong would bring him such expensive Maotai, and he didn't expect it to be smashed into pieces in the blink of an eye. Seeing the good wine flowing on the ground, he was so distressed that he stamped his feet and wanted to lie on the ground. Lick. Everyone else was stunned. No one had expected that Qin Haodong would be so straightforward. A bottle of Maotai was worth more than 7,000 yuan, and 6 bottles added up to nearly 50,000 yuan. How could he just throw it away like that? Zhang Feng said, "Honey, don't believe him. I don't believe that a poor boy like him would spend 40,000 or 50,000 yuan to buy you wine. This must be fake wine to cheat you." Li Cheng grinned and didn't speak. He knew very well whether the wine was real or fake. He loved drinking the most in his life. Although he had never drunk such a good Maotai, he could smell from the strong aroma of the wine that it was definitely the real Maotai. After finishing the box of Maotai, Qin Haodong turned his hand and took a box of cigarettes from the back seat of the car. He looked up and said to Li Kai, "Second uncle, this is also the last time I call you that. I know you like smoking, so I brought you a box of Chunghwa cigarettes this time. These cigarettes cost 1,000 yuan each, and 50 cartons cost 50,000 yuan in total. Now let's make an end of it." After that, he took out a lighter and directly lit the box of Chunghwa cigarettes. Then a raging fire ignited, and the box of cigarettes worth 50,000 yuan was burned. The aroma of Chunghwa cigarettes and the aroma of Mao Tai just now mixed together, filling the whole courtyard. Li Kai was dumbfounded. Whether it was a whole box of Chunghwa cigarettes or 50,000 yuan, it was enough to make him feel distressed. Li Shulan believed Qin Haodong's words. Seeing that 100,000 yuan was burned in the blink of an eye, she felt distressed and said, "Dong, it's not worth it." Qin Haodong smiled indifferently and said, "Anyway, I have called them uncles for so many years. 100,000 yuan is nothing to make an end of it." After that, he took out 2 bags with LV logo from the back seat of the car and said to Zhang Feng and Zhao Haili, "These years, you two have called me a bastard in front of and behind my back. But after all, you are the daughters-in-law of the Li family. This time I also prepared a gift. These 2 are genuine LV bags, 20,000 yuan each. Now I don't need them at all." Zhang Feng usually liked shopping in luxury stores. Although she couldn't afford it, it was good to have a look. At this time, she recognized that these 2 were genuine LV bags at a glance. She quickly said, "Dong, since you bought it, give it to us. Don't waste it. Give it to you." Qin Haodong smiled coldly and said, "Women like you who are mean, don't know filial piety, and only have money in their eyes, might as well burn them." After that, he shook his hand and the 2 bags fell into the fire of the Chunghwa cigarettes. Soon they were burned into a pile of coke. Zhang Feng and Zhao Haili were so distressed that they couldn't wait to rush into the fire and fish out the 2 bags. At this time, there was a faint regret in their hearts. They didn't know how Qin Haodong had so much money and why he bought such good gifts for them. But it was too late to regret now. Qin Haodong took out 2 of the latest fruit mobile phones and waved them in front of Li Cheng and Li Kai. "And my 2 cousins, although they bullied me, beat me and scolded me since I was a child, I still prepared 2 mobile phones for them. Let's burn them too." Soon, the 2 mobile phones also fell into the fire. Li Cheng licked his dry lips, swallowed his saliva and said, "Qin Haodong, what do you mean? Are you showing off to us?" Qin Haodong smiled disdainfully and said, "It's not showing off, and I don't need to show off to you. I've already said that it's just an end. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other." Li Kai said, "It's useless to do these things. Who are you fooling with a bunch of fake things?" Although he was very clear in his heart that these things that Qin Haodong took out were absolutely not fake, he had to say so against his conscience for the sake of his face. "Fake, right? Why don't you check if this is fake?" After that, Qin Haodong opened the trunk of the Honda and took out 3 suitcases. He put them on the ground and opened them one by one. They were all colorful Wuxia currency. Last time he sold a Schwanda sensor on the antique street, he got 30 million from Guofeng. Later, for convenience, he exchanged 5 million in cash and put it in the storage ring. Just now, he just took out 3 million under the cover of the trunk. He opened a suitcase and said, "Grandpa and Grandma took care of me as their own since I was a child. I've always remembered it. This time I came back to renovate the clinic for them, so I prepared 1 million for them." Li Cheng and Li Kai were completely dumbfounded. They never dreamed that Qin Haodong could easily take out 1 million in cash. If that was the case, according to the agreement they had just signed, they would lose the right to inherit the old man's property. Li Shulan and Wang Rubing were also surprised, but soon they were surprised. They had always regarded Qin Haodong as the closest person. Naturally, they would be happy when their relatives were rich. "It's impossible. It's impossible. How can a poor boy like you have so much money?" Li Cheng said like crazy. He rushed over and grabbed the suitcase, took out the Wuxia currency from it, and checked it stack by stack. Soon, he sat on the ground dejectedly. The money was as real as the cigarettes and wine just now. There was no fake at all. Qin Haodong ignored them and sent the other 2 suitcases to Li Shulan and Wang Rubing respectively. Aunt, sister, I will remember your kindness to me these years. Take the money. It's a token of my appreciation. No, Dong, you can't take the money from me and your sister. Li Shulan quickly pushed the 2 suitcases back and said, you haven't married yet. There will be a lot of money in the future. You can keep the money to buy a suite in Jiangnan. Qin Haodong said, Aunt, you and sister can take it. I still have money and a house. Li Shulan's face changed and asked, Dong, tell me the truth. Where did the money come from? I tell you, no matter how poor we are, we can't do illegal things, and we can't go against our conscience. Aunt, what are you talking about? Don't you believe me? This money was definitely obtained in a clean and above-board manner. Qin Haodong put the 2 suitcases into Li Shulan's arms and said, you and sister must take the money, or you will treat me as an outsider. Seeing Qin Haodong's solemn words, Li Shulan said, well, I will keep the money for you. You can ask me for money when you need it. Don't save it. You can spend it if you need it. I have more. Qin Haodong said and turned to look at Li Cheng and others, how about it? Did you see it clearly? Is it 1 million? Li Cheng said with a flattering face, Dong, it is indeed 1 million, but I was just joking with you. We are a family. How can we bet with this thing? Li Kai smiled like a chrysanthemum and said, yes, yes, we are a family. How can we bet? It's just a joke. After that, the 2 of them threw the agreement in their hands into the fire. Zhang Feng and Zhao Haili also quickly took out the agreement in their pockets and threw it into the fire. Dong, I have long seen that you are promising. Please forgive me if I have wronged you before. Yes, Dong, if I have wronged you, just tell me. I promise I will change it immediately. Joke. Why didn't I see it? Qin Haodong sneered and took out the agreement on his body. This is signed by the 4 of you. It's legally binding wherever you take it. Now you can all go back. My grandfather's house has nothing to do with you anymore. Xiao Dong, I told you that we are a family. We can discuss about the house. Li Cheng came to Qin Haodong with a charming smile and said, Dong, you are rich now. Your cousin is in urgent need of money for his wedding. Can you lend me 500,000? Chapter 111. Borrow money. Qin Haodong sneered and said, we've just made a clean break. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. Since you're strangers, why should I lend you money? Li Cheng said with a flattering face, Dong, I've already told you that it was just a joke. You can't take it seriously. We're still a family. You lost the bet. Now that I have some money, we're a family again. Qin Haodong looked at them with disgust and said, Grandpa has been kind and upright all his life. He has saved countless people. I really don't know how he gave birth to you 2 shameless things. Today, I'm telling you to give up. Although I have a lot of money, I won't lend it to you even if I have to burn it. Looking at Qin Haodong's firm expression, Li Cheng realized that this young man couldn't be coaxed with a few words. It was impossible to borrow money. Since he couldn't get the money, there was no need for him to be humble. The smile on his face immediately disappeared. He pointed at Qin Haodong and scolded, little bastard, don't think you're great just because you have some money. I don't care how much money you have. Li Kai also scolded, yes, little bastard, you're a jinx. You've messed up our family like this. There's no way for you to occupy our property. While they were scolding happily, they suddenly felt a pain on their faces. After a series of banging sounds, they flew out. Li Cheng got up from the ground and couldn't believe what had happened in front of him. Qin Haodong had been respectful to them since he was a child. He didn't expect that he would hit them today. He covered his swollen cheek, pointed at Qin Haodong again and scolded, little bastard, how dare you hit me? Before he finished speaking, Qin Haodong grabbed his collar and slapped him several times. Then he reached into his pocket and took out 3 or 4 stacks of 100 yuan bills and threw them back into the suitcase. Li Cheng had just secretly put the money into his pocket and thought that no one had seen it. In fact, it had been clearly seen by Qin Haodong. Li Kai got up from the ground. He wanted to curse a few words, but when he saw Li Cheng's fate and Qin Haodong's cold eyes, he was so scared that he swallowed his words and didn't dare to say anything. Qin Haodong said in a cold voice, "I didn't have parents since I was a child, but not everyone can call me a bastard. I put up with you before because you are my uncle and second uncle. But now we have drawn a line, and I don't have to put up with you anymore. If any of you dare to scold me again, you will end up like this table." After Qin Haodong finished speaking, he raised his hand and slapped a table next to him. The solid wooden square table was like a piece of paper under his hand. With a crash, it broke into pieces on the ground. Li Cheng looked at Li Kai and then at his wife, Zhang Feng. Everyone's eyes were filled with horror. No one had expected that Qin Haodong, who used to be respectful to them, would be so strong and cruel after breaking up with them. "Throw all the money in your pockets back to me. Don't wait for me to make a move. Then get out and don't let me see you again." Qin Haodong took a few steps forward in succession, and his body emitted a strong momentum to cover the 4 people in front of him. Although Li Cheng and others were rascals, they were just ordinary people. They had never seen such a momentum. They were so scared that they almost peed their pants. They took out the money hidden in their pockets and threw it back into the suitcase. Then they ran out of the yard in embarrassment. Just now, Qin Haodong was angry at the shamelessness of these people, and for a moment, he vented his long-suppressed emotions. When Li Cheng and the others ran out, he realized that after all, Qin Haodong was his grandpa's son. Had he gone too far? He couldn't help looking back at Li Qingshan and Zuolanji. Li Qingshan saw his mind and said, "Little Dong, you taught them a good lesson. I wanted to teach them a lesson for a long time. Today you helped Grandpa." Zuolanji said, "Yes, Little Dong, you beat them too lightly. You should break the legs of these 2 beasts." What the old couple said was not a lie. These years, they had been completely disappointed with these 2 unfilial sons, and they were annoyed by them. Now seeing Qin Haodong help them solve the future trouble at one time, they were too happy. Only Li Shulan sighed, but she didn't say anything. Zuolanji said again, "Little Dong, you can use the money to annoy those bastards. Take it back quickly. With the money, you can buy a house in Jiangnan City. You will be more confident when you go on a blind date tomorrow." Li Qingshan also said, "Shulan, take the money back to Little Dong. We have been ashamed of his parents because we couldn't help him get married and buy a house. We can't take his money." When Li Shulan was about to take the 3 suitcases with 1 million yuan, she was stopped by Qin Haodong. He said to the old couple, "Grandpa, Grandma, I earned this money to show my filial piety to you. Why do you return it to me? Do you still treat me as an outsider?" Li Qingshan said, "But, no buts." Qin Haodong immediately interrupted Li Qingshan, "Grandpa, I still have a lot of money, enough for my own use. You must accept the money." Li Qingshan wanted to say something, but Zuolanji said, "Forget it, old man. Since it's our grandson's filial piety to us, we'll keep it." Li Qingshan thought about it and nodded. He didn't object anymore. At this time, Qin Haodong's cell phone rang. He picked up the phone and glanced at it. It was Shi Kuai, the director of the Public Security Department. He walked to the side and pressed the answer button. "Director Shi, what's the matter?" Shi Kuai said, "Dr. Qin, thank you so much last time. You not only cured my illness, but also cured Wan Er." Qin Haodong said, "You're welcome. I'm a doctor. It's my duty to save people." He knew that Shi Kuai called him not just to thank him. As expected, Shi Kuai said, "Dr. Qin, I called you today not only to express my gratitude, but also to ask you to do it again. I have a good comrade who was injured in the army. His leg bone was broken into 3 pieces. Later, although it was connected, he always hurt badly. He went to a lot of hospitals, but it didn't work. Recently, it became more and more serious, and it began to affect his walking. He heard from me that Dr. Qin's medical skills were superb, so he wanted to ask you to have a look at him. Qin Haodong was not surprised about this. Shikuai's spine was definitely a difficult disease. He had been seeking medical treatment everywhere for many years, but it didn't work. Now that he was cured by Qin Haodong, it would bring a great advertising effect. There would definitely be people seeking medical treatment through his channel. He said, "Yes, but I don't have time now. I have to wait for a few days." Shikuai said, "Dr. Qin, can you treat him as soon as possible? It'd better be today." Qin Haodong frowned. Although Shikuai was the director of the public security department, he was no different from ordinary patients in his eyes. As for the person who asked for medical treatment, it was just a leg pain. It was not a fatal disease. After so many years, it shouldn't be a big deal to wait for a few days. He said, "Is it that urgent?" Hearing Qin Haodong's displeasure, Shikuai hurriedly explained, "Dr. Qin, to tell you the truth, my comrade is Li Changji, the secretary of the Discipline Inspection Commission of Jiangnan City. He is very upright and effective. The mayor of Jiangnan City just retired a few days ago. Now the position of mayor is still vacant. The organization has listed Li Changji as a key subject of investigation. They will send someone to talk to him soon. You know, it's important to inspect the health of cadres. If he goes to the talk with a lame leg, it will inevitably affect the impression of the leaders. So they are in a hurry to ask you to treat him." It seemed that his explanation was not enough. After a pause, he said, "Dr. Qin, I may not know others, but I know my comrade very well. He is very capable. Most importantly, he is honest and clean. If he can take over the position of mayor, it will be a good thing for all the citizens of Jiangnan City. So you must help him." "Oh. That's it." Qin Haodong's frowning brows relaxed, and his tone eased a lot. "Well, I just returned to my hometown in Wuxia County at noon. If it's really that urgent, let him come over and I'll treat him." Shikuai said happily, "That's great, Dr. Qin. Thank you so much. Wuxia County is not too far away. We'll go there now. It's estimated that we can arrive in Wuxia County in more than an hour. After the treatment, let's have a good drink." After hanging up the phone, Qin Haodong and Wang Rubing put the 3 suitcases into the safe of the clinic. After all, it was 3 million yuan. If it was seen by others, it would bring unnecessary trouble or even disaster to the Li family. As soon as they put the money in the safe, they suddenly heard a noise outside, shouting in the roar of the motor. "Li Qingshan, hurry up and come out. I'll tear down your house if you're late." The shouts of a loudspeaker rang through the whole old street. Qin Haodong went outside and saw Li Qingshan and Zhuolanji standing at the door with the help of Li Shulan. Opposite the TCM clinic, there were about 100 or 200 people standing majestically. About half of these people were workers, and the other half were dressed in colorful gangster outfits. In front of them were 2 huge excavators. It seemed that they were here to demolish the house. In front of the excavator stood a short fat man with slick back hair, and next to him was a skinny assistant with parted hair. Li Qingshan went to the door and shouted to the short fat man with slick back hair, "Hong Tianbao, what are you doing here? I've said that I won't move unless you build a new clinic for me. You have to be reasonable when you demolish. First of all, you have to make sure that I can treat my neighbors." Hong Tianbao said, "Old Li, are you crazy because of poverty? We only care about demolishing and making money. What does it have to do with us whether you can treat people or not? Today, I'm telling you for the last time. Sign the demolition agreement, and I'll give you 100,000 yuan immediately. If you say no again, I'll tear down your house immediately. You won't get a dime. The skinny assistant next to him whispered, didn't the boss say 1 million? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Hong Tianbao smiled and said, 1 million was yesterday. Now only 100,000 yuan. If he doesn't agree, I'll tear down his house. Oh. Got it, boss. The assistant naturally didn't know that today was a plan made by Hong Tianbao and Fu Haiken. They wanted to provoke Qin Haodong and then arrest him. As long as Qin Haodong was arrested and put in prison, he believed that Li Qingshan could immediately sign the demolition agreement. He would not pay more if he could save 1 million yuan. At this time, the neighbors of the old street heard the news and gathered around, standing behind Li Qingshan. Hearing that Hong Tianbao only gave 100,000 yuan for the demolition fee, everyone immediately angrily condemned. This Hong Tianbao is so black-hearted. Such a big yard only gives 100,000 yuan. Isn't this robbery, bastard? This is not a developer, it's a bandit. With so little money, we can't move. Chapter 112. Li Qingshan said, I've already told you clearly that I don't want money. I just want you to build a new clinic for me. Hong Tianbao said, old man, you're really old and muddle-headed. You dare to say anything. It seems that you refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. I'll tear down your house today and see what you can do. How dare you? Li Qingshan was so angry by Hong Tianbao's rascal that his beard twitched. He said angrily, if you want to tear down my house, you have to step over my dead body today. The neighbors behind him also shouted, as long as we are here, don't even think about touching our house. Don't even think about touching Mr. Li. After that, the residents of the old street automatically moved forward and formed a circle, protecting Mr. Li in the middle. You won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Hong Tianbao sneered and waved his hand behind him, teach these unruly people a lesson. After receiving the master's order, these gangsters immediately took out the steel pipes and iron bars that had been prepared and rushed to the villagers in front of them. Although the number of villagers was a little more than the gangsters, there were about 300 or 400 people. However, there were some women and the elderly and children left behind. They were unarmed. How could they be the opponents of these young and strong gangsters? As soon as the two sides touched, only 7 or 8 young and strong people were knocked down to the ground. Although the villagers were extremely angry at Hong Tianbao's robbing behavior, they were just ordinary people. They were usually well behaved, and some of them had never fought with anyone in their entire lives. How could they have ever seen such a situation? They immediately scattered in all directions and hid in their own homes. Looking at the villagers who were beaten away, Hong Tianbao smiled proudly and raised his hand to point to Li Qingshan. Teach this ungrateful old man a lesson. Soon as his voice fell, 7 or 8 gangsters rushed to Li Qingshan with iron bars and steel pipes. The leading gangster with yellow hair raised the iron bar in his hand and smashed it to Li Qingshan's head. Li Shulan was just behind Li Qingshan. They didn't expect that these gangsters really dared to fight with the old man. It was too late to stop them. They saw the yellow-haired gangster's iron stick was about to hit Li Qingshan's head. At the critical moment, a big hand stretched out and grabbed the punk's wrist. Then, with a crack, the punk's forearm was broken into 2. The yellow-haired gangster let out a heart-wrenching scream. But before he could see what was going on, he felt a sharp pain in his lower abdomen. His whole body seemed to be hit by a cannonball. He flew 7 or 8 meters away and fell heavily to the ground. Of course, it was Qin Haodong who rushed over. He held Li Qingshan's arm and said, Grandpa, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm not afraid of these bastards. If you have the ability, then beat me to death. Old Master Li Qingshan had been upright all his life. He looked at Hong Tianbao with fire in his eyes. Grandpa, don't worry. It's them who will die. They can't touch our house as long as I'm here. Qin Haodong handed the old man to Wang Rubing behind him and turned to look at Hong Tianbao. Fong Tianbao was secretly proud. It seemed that his plan had really succeeded. He shouted to the gangsters, "What the hell are you standing there for? Are you waiting to eat sh*t? Get your weapons together and teach this guy a lesson." The gangsters had just been frightened by Qin Haodong's skills. Now they came to their senses. Relying on their numbers, they roared and rushed to Qin Haodong together. Qin Haodong would not show mercy to these gangsters who bullied the villagers. He rushed into the crowd and punched and kicked them. Immediately afterward, these hooligans let out miserable howls and were all sent flying. Each and every one of them had their arms and legs broken. They were seriously injured. Good. Well done. These bastards, let them bully us. Seeing Qin Haodong beat these gangsters, Old Master Li Qingshan felt very happy. The nearby commoners who were watching from afar also cheered loudly. They already hated these hooligans to the core. Clap, clap, clap. Unexpectedly, Hong Tianbao also applauded. He walked a few steps to Qin Haodong and said with a sinister smile, "Boy, you are good at martial arts. It's useless to only know a few moves. The most important thing to do is to have a brain. This is a society governed by law. You've hurt so many of my people. Just wait to eat in prison." Soon as he finished speaking, a siren sounded. 4 police cars quickly drove to this side. More than a dozen policemen jumped out of the cars and quickly surrounded Qin Haodong. The leader was the director of the police station, Zhang Meng. As Fu Haiken's #1 henchman, he was naturally in charge of this kind of thing. Zhang Meng was also an experienced man. He still had to do some superficial work. He pretended to ask, "What's going on? Why are so many people injured?" Fong Tianbao said, "Director Zhang, I originally came with my staff to persuade the villagers to move today. Who knew that this guy rushed over and started beating people? He hurt more than a dozen of my people. Look at how badly they are injured. Their arms and legs are broken. They are all people with families and businesses. They have parents and children. You must uphold justice for my employees," Wang Rubing said angrily. "Nonsense. It's your men who beat us first and hurt more than a dozen of our villagers. How can you complain first?" Li Shulan also cried, "Yes, Hong Tianbao, why are you lying? Don't you have any shame?" Qin Haodong didn't say a word. He had more than 500 years of experience. From the moment Zhang Meng appeared, he already knew that this was a trap set for him. It was obvious that Hong Tianbao and Zhang Meng were in cahoots. Sure enough, Zhang Meng said with a sullen face, "You are all his family members. Of course, you are on his side. Boss Hong, so many of your employees are injured. They are right here, but I don't see any injured villagers. It's very clear that Qin Haodong hurt people maliciously." Then he waved to the policeman behind him and said, "Take the murderer back to the police station." No, you can't be reasonable," Wang Rubing said and stretched out her hands in front of Qin Haodong. That's right. Whoever wants to arrest my grandson, arrest my old lady first," Zuolanji said and stood in front of the policeman, trembling. Zhang Meng said, "Old lady, little girl, the fact is that Qin Haodong hurt more than a dozen people. Don't interfere with my normal law enforcement, or I will arrest you together." Arrest me together. I'm not afraid." As soon as Wang Rubing finished, she was pulled behind by Qin Haodong. "Sister, you don't have to worry about this. I can handle it myself." He turned to Zuolanji and said, "Grandma, don't worry. I'll go to the police station to make things clear. I'll be back soon. I'll go on a blind date with you tomorrow." Are you sure you didn't lie to me?" the old lady said with some doubts. Of course not. When have I ever lied to you since I was a child?" Zuolanji thought for a moment. Qin Haodong really didn't lie to her, so she didn't stop him. Pi Zhongmeng and Hong Tianbao sneered secretly. They thought to themselves, if you want to come back for a blind date, you will stay in prison for 8 or 10 years. After comforting the old lady in Wang Rubing, Qin Haodong looked at Zhang Meng and said, Director Zhang, I advise you to think clearly when you do things. Otherwise, you can't afford the consequences if you do something wrong. Zhang Meng sneered and said, well, I'd like to see what I can't afford. He shouted to the 2 policemen next to him, cuff him up and take him away. Qin Haodong didn't say anything. Since Zhang Meng wanted to die, he would send him on his way. He turned to Wang Rubing and said, 2 friends will come to me later. When they come, just tell them the truth. Wang Rubing nodded. Although she didn't know who Qin Haodong's friends were, her brother had brought her too many surprises since he came back. She didn't hesitate to do what Qin Haodong said. At this time, the 2 policemen had handcuffed Qin Haodong. Zhang Meng waved his hand and took Qin Haodong to the police car. He didn't take Qin Haodong into the police station. Instead, he took him directly to the interrogation room of the criminal squad of the County Public Security Bureau, because Fu Haiken was waiting there. After Qin Haodong left, Hong Tianbao strode to Li Qingshan and said with a sneer, Old man, your grandson has been arrested. Let's see how you fight against me this time. Zuolanji said, Little bastard, don't be proud. My Xiaodong is just going to make it clear. He will be back soon. Back. Hong Tianbao laughed arrogantly. After laughing enough, he said, to tell you the truth, your grandson won't be able to come back for 8 to 10 years. He hurt so many of my people. Even if he is sentenced to 1 year, he will stay in prison for more than 10 years. Besides, I have a lot of friends in prison. I will take special care of him. It's hard to say whether he can come out alive. Zuolanji was stunned for a moment and then said, You're talking nonsense. My grandson told me that he will go on a blind date with me tomorrow. Hong Tianbao laughed and said, You're really an old fool. Can't you see that he's lying to you? No matter how powerful he is, can he be more powerful than a policeman's gun? So he can only be obedient. According to my original plan, as long as someone tries to stop me, I will arrest them together. I didn't expect that this guy has some brains. He even bluffed you with a few words. You got a big bargain. This. Zuolanji wanted to say something to refute, but she couldn't find a reason for a moment. At this time, she realized that maybe as Hong Tianbao said, Qin Haodong couldn't come out after going in. Li Shulan was a teacher, so she knew something about the law. She had already believed most of Hong Tianbao's words. She said, Hong, what do you want? Don't you know what I want? I, Hong Tianbao, am a businessman, and businessmen want to make money. But now, your family is blocking my way to make money. I have already taken over the renovation project of the old street. If you delay it for a day, I will have to pay for a day's loss. If your old man doesn't move, others won't move, so I can't make money. If you want to save that guy, I can show you the way. Sign the moving agreement immediately. Director Fu of the County Public Security Bureau is my good brother. As long as I tell him, he can release Qin Haodong. Otherwise, you can wait to see him in prison. Wang Rubing said angrily, Is this all your plan? Hong Tianbao said with a smile, Kind of. You are blocking my way to make money. If I don't find a way to deal with you, how can I live in Wufeng County? Li Shulan didn't say anything. She turned her head to look at Li Qingshan. Of course, this kind of thing could be decided by the old man. Li Qingshan was silent for a moment, and finally said, Give it to me. I will sign it. But you have to promise that my grandson will come back tonight. Hong Tianbao was overjoyed. It seemed that his method really worked. As long as Li Qingshan's family moved away, there would be no more obstacles to the relocation of the old street. He waved his hand, and the skinny assistant next to him took a moving agreement and sent it to Li Qingshan. Li Qingshan took the agreement and looked at it. Then he said angrily, You only give me 50,000 yuan for such a big yard, Chapter 113. Li Shulan glanced at the number on the contract and cried, "Didn't you just say 100,000? 1 million is yesterday's price, 100,000 is just now, and 50,000 is now. And it will only last for 5 minutes. If you don't sign the contract within 5 minutes, there will only be 30,000. Hong Tianbao said with a treacherous face, "I'm telling you, there's not much time. If Qin Haodong is sent to prison, you can't save him even if you give him 1 million. Don't hesitate. I've already found out that he's still a college student. He's likely to become a doctor in the future. Think about how much money a doctor can earn in a year. Don't ruin his life because of this small profit. It'll be too late for regrets." Li Shulan glanced at Hong Tianbao again and said, "But what if you still don't let Dong go after we sign the agreement?" Hong Tianbao said, "I'm also a gangster. Credibility is the most important thing. Since I said it, I will do it. And now the situation is right here, you have no other choice. If you don't believe me, you cannot sign the agreement. In that case, Qin Haodong really has no hope at all." Li Qingshan didn't hesitate anymore. He directly took the pen, signed his name on the agreement, and then pressed his fingerprint. "I hope you can keep your word and let my grandson out." Hong Tianbao took the agreement and looked at it. He put it in his pocket like a treasure and said with a sinister smile, "Don't worry, I won't let you down." Then he waved his hand and left with his people. The skinny assistant whispered in his ear, "Boss, are we really going to help to let that guy out?" Feng Tianbao scolded, "Are you fucking crazy? We've got the agreement. Why do we still do that stupid thing? And this guy is very important. He offended the director of the Public Security Bureau, Fu Haiken. It's impossible for him to get out." The skinny assistant quickly said with a flattering face, "I know, boss. You're so smart. You only spent 50,000 to get the agreement." In the Li family, Li Qingshan and his wife returned to their room dejectedly. Li Shulan asked, "Dad, what if they really don't let Dong go after signing the agreement?" Li Qingshan sighed and said, "Hong is right. Do we have any other choice? We can't just watch Lil Dong go to jail and do nothing." Wang Rubing said, "Grandpa, I think we've been fooled by Hong. My brother is fine at all." Li Shulan said, "Children talk nonsense. As soon as Dong came back, he cleaned up by Wenjia and offended the director of the Public Security Bureau. Now he has hurt so many people. How could he be fine?" Wang Rubing said, "I don't know exactly. Anyway, I feel that if my brother says he's fine, then he's fine." While they were talking, 2 black Audi A6s stopped in front of the door. 4 or 5 people got out of the cars, led by 2 middle-aged men in their 50s. One was wearing a police uniform and had a straight figure, and the other was wearing a jacket. His right leg was a little limp when he walked, but it did not affect his majesty at all. They were Shi Kuai, the head of the Public Security Department of Jiangnan Province, and Li Changji, the secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection of Jiangnan City. They found this place according to the location sent by Qin Haodong. Shi Kuai didn't see Qin Haodong after he entered the door. He asked politely, "Is this Dr. Qin Haodong's home?" Bai Rubing immediately saw that these 2 people were unusual. She greeted them according to Qin Haodong's instructions and said, "Are you my brother's friends?" Shi Kuai said, "Yes, we are Dr. Qin's friends." Bai Rubing was happy and said, "My brother was taken away by the police." "What? Taken away by the police?" Shi Kuai was surprised and asked, "What the hell is going on?" Bai Rubing was eloquent. She quickly told Shi Kuai what had just happened and what happened this afternoon. Then she said, "My brother asked me to tell you all this before he left. You are his friends. Can you save my brother?" Shi Kuai and Li Changji's faces were gloomy and scary. They didn't expect that such a lawless thing would happen in Wufeng County. As the head of the Public Security Department and the secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection of Jiangnan City, it made them feel ashamed. Shi Kuai said, "Don't worry. Leave Dr. Qin to us. We will give you a satisfactory result." Then he said to Li Changji, "Old Li, let's go to the police station now. It's not enough for us to go alone." Li Changji said, "There are a lot of people involved in this matter. I will call the head of Wufen County now and ask him and the secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection to come here together. No matter who is involved, we must investigate it to the end." Shi Kuai thought about it and felt that what Li Changji said made sense. Their positions were too high, so it was not convenient for them to intervene directly. They left the Li family together. Li Changji called the head of the county, Zhao Yang, and the secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection, Yu Shujiang, and asked them to gather in front of the clinic immediately. Zhao Yang and Yu Shujiang were shocked and they received the call. They didn't know what happened. Li Changji had always been known for his fairness and iron fist. It was said that he was going to take over as the mayor of Jiangnan City. It was not a small thing that he called in person. No matter what they thought, they didn't dare to delay. After receiving the call, they immediately rushed to the door of Jishe Traditional Chinese Medicine Clinic. After getting out of the car, when they saw Shi Kuai and Li Changji standing side by side at the door, they couldn't help but feel shocked. These two great masters, one was a real director-level cadre, and the other was going to be promoted to the director level. It must be a big thing that could alarm these two people together. "Director Shi, Secretary Li, we're here. Please give us instructions." Shi Kuai looked at them but didn't say anything. Although he had a high rank, he was not their supervisor after all. It was best to let Li Changji deal with this matter. Li Changji said coldly, "Head of the county, Secretary Yu, let me ask you. Is Wufen County still under the control of the Wuxia government? Is there any law?" Zhao Yang and Yu Shujiang couldn't help but shiver. It was such a big hat. They didn't know what made Secretary Li so angry. "Secretary Li, if there is anything wrong with our work, please criticize and correct us." Zhao Yang said. A mine manager, because he gave birth to 3 daughters in a row, went to an old Chinese medicine doctor to ask for the secret of giving birth to a son. The doctor refused, so he asked his hooligans to smash the whole clinic. And the police didn't care about all this, just because his brother-in-law is the director of the Public Security Bureau. Zhao Yang and Yu Shujiang looked at each other, and then they knew that it had something to do with Fu Haiken. At the same time, they cursed 18 generations of his ancestors in their hearts. How could he cause such a big trouble for them? That's not all. The real estate developer Hong Tianbao in your county wanted to develop this street. The Chinese medicine clinic was originally a commercial network on the street, and he asked the developer to build another Chinese medicine clinic. This condition is not high, is it? But the developer named Hong Tianbao not only didn't agree, but also hired some hooligans to do the forced demolition. As a result, the hooligans who beat people were ignored, and Dr. Qin who upheld justice was arrested by the police station. What kind of reason is this? Which law is enforced? Speaking of this, Li Changji's voice became stern. He pointed back to the Chinese medicine clinic and said, "In the end, the Chinese medicine clinic was forced to sign a demolition agreement for 50,000 yuan. Such a big yard, would you sell it for 50,000 yuan? Zhao Yang and Yu Shujiang were also experienced in officialdom. Hearing this, they immediately understood the key of the problem. Although the things Li Changji said were really very serious, the most important thing was Dr. Qin. Who on earth was this Dr. Qin? How could he invite these two great Buddhas? This made them very confused. Zhao Yang said, "Director Shi, Secretary Li, this kind of lawless thing happened in our Wufen County. As a local official, I really have an unshirkable responsibility. Secretary Yu and I will go back and investigate it. We must find out the truth." Shi Kuai said, "Don't go back. Now Dr. Qin is still in the police station. Let's go and see what's going on. Zhao Yang thought to himself, as expected, the problem is still Dr. Qin. I really don't know who he is. But one thing is sure, Fu Haiken and Hong Tianbao will be in big trouble this time. After they finished talking, they turned around and were about to get in the car. At this time, someone behind them said, "Can I go with you?" Wang Rubing just felt that Shi Kuai and Li Changji were not ordinary people. After they went out, she had been secretly watching them in the house. Then she was surprised to find that the county magistrate Zhao Yang was very respectful to these two people. It could be seen that they were big shots. Although she didn't know how her brother made such friends, she cared about Qin Haodong. So when she heard that Shi Kuai was going to the police station, she ran out. Shi Kuai looked back and found it was Qin Haodong's sister. He directly agreed, "Get in the car." Zhang Meng sent Qin Haodong to the Municipal Public Security Bureau and then returned to the police station happily. In his view, no matter what, he had done a great service for Fu Haiken. Now there was a vacancy of the Deputy Director of the County Public Security Bureau. As long as he could satisfy Fu Haiken, he had already sat on the position of Deputy Director. Not only this, he had done such a big favor for Hong Tianbao. There must be a lot of benefits for him. At least he could get a suite. It was ridiculous that the toy boy even threatened him and said that he would regret it. How could he regret such a great thing that could make him promoted and rich? When he was daydreaming, a young policeman rushed in and said breathlessly, "Director, there are a few people downstairs and they want to see you." Zhang Meng said impatiently, "Don't panic. Don't you see it's time to get off work? Tell them to come tomorrow if they have something to do." The young policeman said, "Director, one of them is Director Shi of the Public Security Department, the other is Magistrate Zhao of our county, and I don't know the other two. No matter who they are, tell them to get out. Don't you know it's time to get off work?" Zhang Meng suddenly realized something and jumped up from the chair. He asked nervously, "Who are you talking about? Who are they?" "Director Shi, Magistrate Zhao, and I don't know the other two, but they seem to be big leaders." Before the young policeman finished speaking, Zhang Meng ran to the door in a hurry. At this time, his heart was already in his throat. So many big leaders came to his small police station. Did it have something to do with that guy? But then he thought it was unlikely. He knew the background of the traditional Chinese medicine clinic very well. How could he know the county magistrate and the director of the public security department? Chapter 114. Hello, leaders. Welcome to our police station for guidance. Zhang Meng smiled like a dog's tail flower and saluted to Shi Kuai and the other three people one by one. "Director Zhang is so good at work. I dare not guide you." Shi Kuai said in a cold voice, "You arrested Dr. Qin. Give me a reason." "Dr. Qin." Zhang Meng heard the dissatisfaction in Shi Kuai's tone. He was so nervous that he realized that Dr. Qin was Qin Haodong. He tried to explain, "Director, when we went out, we found that Dr. Qin injured more than a dozen people. Those people were all seriously injured. That's why I ordered to arrest him." Shi Kuai said in a cold voice, "You arrested him for beating people? Have you ever investigated whether Dr. Qin was acting in self-defense? And those gangsters injured so many people. As the people's police, shouldn't you arrest any of them?" The cold sweat on Zhang Meng's forehead suddenly flowed down. He said in a trembling voice, "I'm sorry, Director. I'm incompetent and thoughtless. I'll correct myself in the future." At this time, Li Changji said in a low voice, "Is it just a problem of incompetent? Is there any other reason?" Zhang Meng was so scared that he almost wet his pants. Everyone in Jiangnan City knew that Li Changji was the iron-fisted secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection. Anyone who was targeted by this secretary would be in big trouble. The most important thing was that he was really dirty. I He hesitated for a long time and couldn't say a complete sentence. Shirkuahai said, "Don't talk nonsense. Let Dr. Qin out." Zhang Meng said with a bitter face, "Director Shi, Dr. Qin is not in our police station. He is now in the county crime squad." Li Changji asked with a cold face, "Didn't you arrest him? Why did you send him to the crime squad? Is this in line with the procedure?" Zhang Meng wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and said nervously, "Secretary Li, I just followed the director's order. The deputy director asked me to send him there, so I did." Shirkuahai said, "Stop talking nonsense. Take us to the crime squad of the County Public Security Bureau." "All right. I'm going now." Zhang Meng hurriedly got in his car and led the way. At this time, he thought of Qin Haodong's warning. Now he really regretted it. He regretted provoking such a big shot. He really didn't know whether he could keep his hat after the matter was settled. However, it was too late to regret it now. He could only hope that Fu Haiken could rely on his experience and connections to get through this. If Fu Haiken was fine, then he would naturally be fine. In the criminal police unit of Wufeng County, Qin Haodong was handcuffed to an iron stool, with 2 young policemen in their 20s guarding him. At this moment, the large metal door of the interrogation room opened, and a middle-aged man in his 50s walked in. He was red and reeked of alcohol. It was obvious that he had just left the table. Fu Haiken heard that he had caught Qin Haodong, so he came to interrogate him personally. The most important thing he wanted to figure out was how Bai Wenjie went crazy. However, there were some private things involved in this matter. Naturally, he didn't want others to hear it. First, he asked someone to turn off the surveillance of the interrogation room, and then he waved to the 2 young policemen and let them all go out. He glanced at Qin Haodong. The young man was not nervous at all. He looked relaxed, just like a guest here. He asked, "Are you Qin Haodong, the grandson of old Li?" Qin Haodong didn't answer his question. Instead, he looked up and asked, "Are you the director of the County Public Security Bureau, Bai Wenjie's brother-in-law?" Fu Haiken sneered and said, "It seems that you know a lot. In Wufeng County, if you offend me, you will certainly not have a good end. Be sensible and tell me what I ask you. If you make me happy, I can let you stay in prison for a few years less." Qin Haodong smiled slightly and still said to himself, "In fact, you shouldn't have provoked me. After this incident, you should have kept an eye on your brother-in-law and behaved honestly. Maybe you can still be the director for a few more years. But now that you have caught me here, it is destined that the director's position has come to an end. Boy, are you out of your mind?" Fu Haiken felt that he was going crazy. He pointed at Qin Haodong and said angrily, "Tell me honestly, what did you do to Bai Wenjie? How did you make him crazy?" Qin Haodong said, "He is fine. He is not crazy at all." "Nonsense. If he is not crazy, how can you tell what he has done, and you recorded it into a video and posted it on the internet?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "That's because he found his conscience after my persuasion and education. He finally realized how ugly his behavior was, so he tried to turn himself in." "Bullshit. Do you think I am a child?" Fu Haiken was furious. He felt that Qin Haodong was teasing him. He took a baton from the wall and said, "Boy, it seems that you are not going to tell the truth if I don't give you some pain." After that, he swung the baton in his hand and smashed it at Qin Haodong's head. As the head of the Public Security Department, Shirkuahai had heard some of the dark side of the grassroots. He was afraid that Qin Haodong would be wronged in the County Public Security Bureau, so he hurried all the way. After arriving at the criminal squad of the County Public Security Bureau, he immediately rushed to the interrogation room with his men, opened the door and rushed in. After entering the door, everyone was a little dumbfounded, especially Zhang Meng. His eyes almost popped out of his eye sockets. It was not his fault. The scene in front of him was really beyond people's imagination. They saw Qin Haodong sitting on the chair behind the desk, with his legs on the table, slowly drinking tea. Opposite him, Fu Haiken, the head of the County Public Security Bureau, was sitting on the big iron chair, saying something with tears and snot. Wang Rubing immediately rushed over and grabbed Qin Haodong's arm. She asked with concern, "Brother, are you okay? Do I look like I'm okay?" Qin Haodong said as he stood up and put the teacup on the table. He turned to Shi Kuai and said, "Director Shi, you are a little later than I expected." "I'm sorry, Dr. Qin. We thought you were at the police station, so we went there first and delayed a little time." After that, Shi Kuai introduced Li Changji and others behind him to Qin Haodong one by one. After the greetings, Qin Haodong said to Li Changji, "Secretary Li, you came just in time. After my persuasion and education, Director Fu has realized his mistakes. Now he is looking for someone to confess and turn himself in." He turned to Fu Haiken and said, "Secretary Li is here. Confess all the dirty things you have done from the beginning to the end." To everyone's surprise, Fu Haiken knelt down in front of Li Changji, held his leg and began to confess, "I'm sorry, Secretary Li. I am not a human. I have made mistakes. I want to confess and turn myself in." Later, he confessed all what he had done over the years, such as keeping 3 mistresses outside, letting his brother-in-law Bai Wenjie earn money for him outside, taking bribes from the developer Hong Tianbao in private, and acting as a guarantor for these people. Guarantor, all in all the people present were shocked, especially Zhang Meng, who was almost scared out of his wits. He had participated in many of the illegal things Fu Haiken said. Now that Fu Haiken had fallen, he would not be any better. Li Changji's face was extremely gloomy. He did not expect that as the director of the County Public Security Bureau, Fu Haiken should do so many illegal things. He turned to Yu Shujiang and said, "Secretary Yu, this case is handed over to the County Commission for Discipline Inspection. You must investigate it strictly according to the law. No matter who is involved, you must investigate it to the end. Report to me face to face when you have the result." "Yes." Yu Shujiang answered and asked the staff of the Commission for Discipline Inspection who had just arrived to take Fu Haiken and Zhang Meng away. At the same time, he also arranged other police officers to arrest the developer involved in the case, Hong Tianbao. Hong Tianbao only spent 50,000 yuan to sign the moving agreement with Li Qingshan. He was overjoyed. He had just prepared a table of food and wine at home to celebrate. However, before he could drink the wine, he was taken away by the police who had rushed over. Under the supervision of Li Changji, the staff of the County Commission for Discipline Inspection worked at a high speed. In fact, this case was very easy to handle. The 2 main members, Fu Haiken and Bai Wenjie, confessed to what they had done and said everything they were asked. The staff of the Commission for Discipline Inspection were a little confused. They had never seen such honest criminals in all these years. Not only did the 2 of them clearly state what they had done, but they also revealed the location of the evidence and the location of the account books. If the staff did not understand, they would explain patiently and carefully, including their motives and details of the crime. It was a model of confession. Because of this, Zhang Meng and Hong Tianbao could not deny it even if they wanted to. Soon, the 4 people were taken to the detention center, waiting for the court to pronounce the sentence. In the VIP room of the Li Xiang Hotel in Wufeng County, Qin Haodong, Shi Kuai and Li Changji sat together. Li Changji looked Qin Haodong up and down. If it were someone else sitting with the head of the Public Security Bureau and the secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection, he would inevitably be submissive and nervous. However, the young man in front of him was calm and didn't care about their identities at all. His bearing made them secretly admire him. "Dr. Qin, I have something to ask you. I don't know if it's okay." "Secretary Li, just say it." Qin Haodong said lightly. "I just received a call from my subordinates, saying that what Fu Haiken said is true, and the evidence has been found, which is completely consistent with other people's confessions. I want to ask, how did you make him confess voluntarily? This was indeed a mystery in Li Changji's heart. He had been working for the Commission for Discipline Inspection for so many years, and he knew how stubborn those corrupt people were. They would never confess until the last moment. But Fu Haiken completely subverted his understanding. He confessed all the facts of his crime without any falsehood. Although he didn't know the specific reason, he guessed it must have something to do with the young man in front of him, so he asked. Qin Haodong smiled and said, in fact, it's very simple. I told him the principles of being a man, and he realized his own mistakes, crying and shouting to turn himself in. Li Changji naturally did not believe this. If anti-corruption was so easy, there would be no corrupt people in Huaxiao. But the fact was in front of him, and he could not find any reason to refute. Shi Kuai said, Old Li, I told you that Dr. Qin is a master, and we ordinary people can't see through the actions of a master. The case has come to an end, so let's not talk about it. Let's talk about the medical treatment first. Chapter 115. That's not a problem. Qin Haodong asked Li Changji to stretch out his left hand and began to feel his pulse. 2 minutes later, he withdrew his right hand. Shi Kuai asked, How is it, Dr. Qin? Can old Li's disease be cured? Qin Haodong said, No problem. It's not a serious disease. It can be cured now. Now, right here. Li Changji couldn't believe it. He had seen many famous doctors, but none of them could cure his leg. But this young man said that he could be cured here. If Qin Haodong hadn't cured Shi Kuai's disease, he would have thought that he had met a swindler. Here is fine. It'll only take a few minutes. Qin Haodong said. He asked Li Changji to put his leg on the opposite stool and then roll up his trousers. He took out the needle bag from his pocket and began to treat the disease with acupuncture. 5 minutes later, he took back the silver needles and said, Well, try to walk. That's it. Li Changji couldn't believe it. He slowly stood up from the chair and began to try to walk. Originally, his injured leg would hurt badly as soon as it touched the ground. But this time, after walking a few steps, he didn't feel any pain at all. He tried to jump a few more times. He didn't feel any pain. On the contrary, he was much stronger than before. A magic doctor. You're really a magic doctor. After being happy, Li Changji asked, Dr. Qin, what's wrong with my leg? Why can't the doctors in those big hospitals do anything about it, but you can easily cure it here? Qin Haodong said, After your leg was fractured, although the broken bones were connected, the injured nerves and meridians didn't recover. In addition, you haven't had a good rest these years, so you're getting more and more tired. Those doctors of Western medicine don't even know what meridians are, so they can't find the cause. The acupuncture I just performed is called rejuvenating acupuncture. Its biggest effect is to repair the damaged tissues and meridians. Now the meridians and nerves in your leg have recovered, so it naturally doesn't hurt anymore. A magic doctor. You're really a magic doctor. I'm convinced. Li Changji sighed and said, Dr. Qin, how about the consultation fee? Just tell me how much you need. Qin Haodong looked at Li Changji, who was dressed in plain clothes. It seemed that he was not a rich man. Qin Haodong said, Forget about the medical fee. You just need to promise me one thing. Hearing his words, Li Changji's expression changed and he said, Dr. Qin, I never do things that violate my principles, so you'd better charge me. No matter how much it is, just forget about the request. Qin Haodong smiled slightly. Shi Kuai said that Li Changji was an honest and upright official. He didn't believe it at first, but now it seemed that it was true. He said, Secretary Li, I haven't made my request yet. Don't be in a hurry to refuse. Actually, it's not a big deal. My sister, the young lady you just met, passed the civil service exam and entered the Jiangnan Health Bureau. She will be considered a part of the government in the future. Firstly, I'm not asking you to give her a promotion, and secondly, I'm not asking you to give her special treatment. I just want you to give her a chance to prove herself. After listening to his words, Li Changji's expression relaxed and he said, I can promise you this. A talented person will not be buried, but you still have to pay the consultation fee. Qin Haodong said with a smile, well, 100 yuan it is. He knew that Li Changji would never be at ease if he didn't receive the consultation fee, so he symbolically took 100 yuan. Then the three of them had a pleasant meal. After that, Li Changji and Shi Kuai returned to Jiangnan City, and Qin Haodong returned to the traditional Chinese medicine clinic. It was almost midnight when he walked into the house. The room was dark. It seemed that Li Qingshan and his wife had fallen asleep. When he left the crime squad, he asked Wang Rubing to come back and report that he was safe, so that his family would not worry about his safety. In order not to disturb his grandparents' sleep, he went back to his room quietly. After entering the door, he turned on the light with a snap. When the light was on, Qin Haodong was surprised to find that there was a woman lying on his bed. She was wearing pink suspender pajamas, revealing sexy collarbone and smooth shoulders. The two mountains on her chest were very large, and the gully in the middle was bottomless. The hem of the pajamas was very short, only covering the key parts. The straight and slender thighs were extremely attractive under the light. The woman had fallen asleep on the bed, but she woke up immediately after the light was on. She sat up on the bed and lifted her hair in front of her face. Qin Haodong was surprised to find that it was his sister, Wang Rubing. Seeing that Qin Haodong was staring at her, Wang Rubing showed a little shyness on her face and cried, "Little boy, what are you looking at? I say, Bean Sprout, when did you develop so well?" Qin Haodong said, "And, what are you doing in my room at night?" Wang Rubing used to be thin, far less plump and sexy than she was now, so Qin Haodong always jokingly called her Bean Sprout. As the saying goes, a girl changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. He didn't expect that her figure had changed so much after just over a year. Wang Rubing got out of bed and came to Qin Haodong. She said discontentedly, "Little boy, who are you calling Bean Sprout? Do you have a conscience? The reason why I'm ugly is that you drank all my milk." Qin Haodong was speechless for a moment. They used to quarrel often. Wang Rubing often said such words, but at that time she was thin, so it didn't matter. At this time, looking at the pair of bulging breasts, Qin Haodong suddenly felt that this sentence was too ambiguous. Wang Rubing didn't notice anything wrong and continued to say, "It's because my mother is biased and gives all her milk to you that I can't grow taller. My dream was to be a model, but it's all because of you." At that time, it was really not easy for Zhao Lanxiang to raise two children at a time, so Zhao Lanxiang's growth was a little slower than her peers when she was a child. But now she was 1.65 meters tall. Although she was still a little short of a professional model, she was not short among her peers. "Well, it's my fault. I'll buy you a car of Trensu tomorrow, okay?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Sister, it's so late. What are you doing in my room? Do you think I want to come? My mother was afraid that you would drink too much, so she asked me to prepare honey water and put it here. You don't know what's good for you." Feeling the concern of his family, Qin Haodong felt warm and said, "I know what's good for me. My sister is the best to me. In the future, when you go to Jiangnan City, I'll cover for you if anything happens." "That's more like it." Wang Rubing was very satisfied with his attitude and asked, "Then tell me first, how did you make so much money? Are you a sugar daddy?" "Sugar daddy?" Qin Haodong was speechless. Was he so qualified to be a gigolo? He said, "How is that possible? My value is too high. The rich woman who can support me hasn't made enough money yet. Tell me, how did you make so much money?" Qin Haodong said, "I'm a doctor. That money is earned by treating others. Come on, I've treated people all my life, and I haven't made so much money. Wang Rubing didn't believe it. Believe it or not, go back to your room. I'm going to bed. Who cares about you? The honey water is on the table. Wang Rubing left after saying that. Qin Haodong drank up the honey water on the table and suddenly felt much better. Then he went to bed and fell asleep. He was really tired today. The next morning, he was sleeping soundly, but he was directly pulled out of bed by Zuolonji. "Grandma, what's up?" he asked. Zuolonji said, "Get ready. We're going out for a blind date today." Qin Haodong remembered that there was a blind date. He said helplessly, "Grandma, can we not go?" "Of course not. I've already made an appointment with the girl." "But you don't have to go so early, do you?" Qin Haodong said. "What time is it?" "Get up and have breakfast. Then get ready. We're the men, so we can't be late. There's no harm in going early." Looking at the old lady's serious expression, Qin Haodong knew that he couldn't avoid it. He had to deal with it. He got up, had breakfast, and followed Zuolonji out of the house. "Grandma, how many are you going to let me meet?" Qin Haodong asked. Zuolonji said with a smile, "Child, you must be careful about blind dates. You can't meet too many people in a day. I've arranged 3 for you today. In the morning, you'll meet Grandma Wang, at noon, you'll meet Grandma Li, and in the afternoon, you'll meet Grandma Zhang." Qin Haodong was speechless. It seemed that the old lady had arranged more blind dates than today. There might be more in the next few days. Soon, they came to the door of a cafe to meet the blind date introduced by Grandma Wang. Qin Haodong had seen the girl's photo. Although it had been beautified, she was generally good-looking and could barely reach 60 points. Zuolonji asked Qin Haodong to go in and wait. She sat directly on the bench opposite the cafe. Qin Haodong was speechless as he looked at his grandma waiting outside the door. It seemed that he couldn't leave the cafe without the blind date. The appointed time was 9 o'clock in the morning, but 10 minutes had passed, and there was still no sign of the girl. Qin Haodong was annoyed waiting for a while. At this time, his cell phone rang. He took a look and found it was a strange number. He thought it was the girl. After pressing the answer button, he found it was a man. "Is this Qin Haodong, Mr. Qin?" The tone of the man was very polite. "Yes, who are you?" Qin Haodong asked. "Mr. Qin may not know me. I'm Su Jinkai from Jiangnan First Grade Construction Company." Qin Haodong had heard of Jiangnan First Grade Construction Company. There were 2 most famous construction companies in Wufeng County. One was Tianbao Construction Company of Hong Tianbao, and the other was Jiangnan First Grade Construction Company. The reason why Tianbao Construction Company was famous was that Hong Tianbao took things by force and no one dared to provoke him. In contrast, Jiangnan First Grade Construction Company was a very formal construction company, which made its reputation by the excellent quality of construction. Qin Haodong asked, "Boss Su, what can I do for you?" Su Jinkai said respectfully, "Mr. Qin, after Hong Tianbao was arrested, the reconstruction of the old street was handed over to our Jiangnan First Grade Construction Company. I want to talk to you about the relocation." About the relocation. Qin Haodong thought that these businessmen acted so fast. Hong Tianbao had just been arrested yesterday, and there was already a new move today. Anyway, he was bored now, so he directly sent his address. It had to be said that Su Jinkai's action was really fast. In less than 5 minutes, a black Mercedes-Benz car stopped in front of the cafe. A middle-aged man in his 40s walked into the cafe. "Hello, Mr. Qin." After seeing Qin Haodong, Su Jinkai immediately greeted him warmly and reached out his right hand. Qin Haodong shook hands with him and said, "Mr. Su, what do you want to talk to me about?" Chapter 116. Qin Haodong smiled slightly. It seemed that Su Jinkai regarded his family as a nail-biter. He said, I only have 2 requirements for the relocation. First, build a Chinese medicine clinic of the same size for my grandfather, and we will move immediately after it is built. Second, give the neighbors a fair and reasonable demolition price. That's it. Is there no other requirement? Su Jinkai's face showed an imperceptible surprise. He had inquired about it. This young man seemed to be simple, but in fact he had a strong background. Last night, he put Hong Tianbao in prison, and at the same time, he brought down Fu Haiken, the director of the County Public Security Bureau. Then he brought the director of the police station Zhang Meng and Bai Wenjie to prison. As a local developer of Wufeng County, he knew that if he wanted to complete the reconstruction project of the old street, he must first do the work of the Chinese medicine clinic, and to move the clinic, he must get the consent of this unfathomable young man. In order to reconstruct the old street, he had been prepared for Qin Haodong to make an exorbitant demand before he came. He did not expect that Qin Haodong only made these 2 simple and reasonable requirements. Qin Haodong said with a smile, it's not that simple. Our family is not a nail-biter, and we have never made any unreasonable requirements. Su Jinkai said readily, well, I agree to both of Mr. Qin's requirements. Not only will I build a modern Chinese medicine clinic for Mr. Li, but I will also pay you the demolition fee according to the national standard. I will also give you a 4-bedroom, 2-hall apartment of Jiangnan first grade, with a living area of 160 square meters. He had heard that Qin Haodong easily brought the director of the Public Security Bureau and the secretary of the Municipal Commission for Discipline Inspection. It was certainly not bad to have a good relationship with such a powerful young man. Moreover, Qin Haodong's requirements were too low. Even if he gave him a house, it would be much lower than he expected. Qin Haodong thought about it. He had planned to buy a house for his aunt's family this time. Now someone took the initiative to send it to him, which saved him the trouble of buying a house. Well, I'll take the house. Qin Haodong said again, Mr. Su, is it profitable to reconstruct the old street in this way? Su Jinkai said, of course, it's profitable, and it's very profitable. I'm a businessman, not a philanthropist. I won't do a losing business. Then I don't understand. Since developing the old street in this way can bring huge profits, why didn't Hong Tianbao do it? Su Jinkai smiled and said, it's actually very simple. First of all, Sammo Hung is too greedy. He always wants to earn more, so he deducted everyone's salary. Relocation expenses. Secondly, Sammo Hung's real estate company was a semi-illegal enterprise, and he kept some idle people in the society. These people had to spend a large sum of money every year, and it was naturally counted as part of the company's profits. At the same time, he also gave Fu Haiken and the others some benefits. In comparison, his costs were much higher than a legal enterprise like mine. Of course, Hong Tianbao had his own advantages in doing this. If Mr. Qin hadn't sent him to prison this time, the old street would have been in turmoil. The juicy meat of Qian Qian, it won't even reach my bowl. Qin Haodong nodded and said, oh. I understand. Mr. Qin, can we sign the agreement? Su Jinkai asked. Although the legal representative of the clinic was Li Qingshan, he cared more about Qin Haodong's opinion. Prepare the agreement. I'll ask Grandpa now. Qin Haodong dialed Li Qingshan's number and soon got a positive answer. Then he directly signed the relocation agreement with Su Jinkai. Mr. Qin, this is a fully renovated 4-bedroom and 2-hall apartment in Jiangnan first grade. You don't need to bring anything. You can move in with your luggage. Su Jinkai said as he handed a bunch of door keys to Qin Haodong's hand. I'll arrange someone to handle the housing procedures tomorrow and then send them to Mr. Qin. Su Jinkai did things without delay. After the agreement, he got up and left the coffee shop directly. Not long after he left, the two women walked up to Qin Haodong and sat down without hesitation. Qin Haodong looked at the two women. The younger one was about 20 years old. Although she was not as beautiful as in the photos, she was somewhat similar. It seemed that they were the blind dates he had been waiting for. The middle-aged woman next to her was about 50 years old. She should be the girl's mother. The young woman was wearing a black one-piece dress and black one-piece stockings. Her makeup was so thick that people couldn't see her original appearance, but her arrogance couldn't be hidden. She raised her chin and looked at Qin Haodong with disdain flashing in her eyes. She asked arrogantly, "Are you Qin Haodong?" It was Qin Haodong's first blind date. This feeling was a little strange. He said with a smile, "I am." "Are you Zhang Meili?" The woman didn't answer his question. Her expression was very stiff. She said coldly, "If you want to have a blind date with me, you have to answer a few questions of mine first." "Well, ask away." Qin Haodong had a smile on his face and his attitude was still good. Although the woman looked very rude, after all, she was introduced by his grandma's old sister. He had to save her some face. "Have you bought a house in Jiangnan City?" Qin Haodong thought about it. His villa was given by Lin Ziyuan, so it couldn't be regarded as his own purchase. So he told the truth, "No." Zhang Meili frowned slightly. Obviously, she was not satisfied with his answer. She asked again, "Have you bought a car?" "It doesn't count if it's less than 300,000 yuan. Qin Haodong now had 3 cars, Lamborghini Centenario, Porsche 911 and the Honda, but he didn't buy any of them. He still shook his head and said, "No." The disappointment on Zhang Meili's face became more intense, but she still asked, "Do you have a 7-digit deposit in the bank?" Qin Haodong shook his head again. He did have a deposit in the bank, but it was 8 digits. He really didn't have a 7-digit deposit. "How long have you been working? Why don't you have anything?" Zhang Meili obviously lost her patience and didn't hide her dissatisfaction at all. Qin Haodong thought that Grandma Wang was too careless in her matchmaking work. She didn't even explain his situation clearly. He explained, "Oh. I'm studying at Jiangnan Medical University. There's still 1 year left before I graduate. I haven't worked yet." Hearing that he was a student at a medical university, the woman's face relaxed a little. She thought that after graduation, she would have a good income as a doctor. She asked again, "What's your major?" "Chinese medicine." Qin Haodong said. "What? You actually studied Chinese medicine at the medical university last time. Is there something wrong with your head? What can you do after graduating from Chinese medicine? How much money can you make? What will you live on in the future?" Qin Haodong's answer completely angered Zhang Meili. A series of questions kept popping out of her mouth. She looked as if she had been greatly hurt. The middle-aged woman who had been silent was also angry. She shouted at Qin Haodong with dissatisfaction, "Why did you come here when you don't have anything? Do you think you deserve our beauty?" Qin Haodong didn't care about the result of this kind of blind date. He said with a smile, "Beauty? I really don't see anything except for the word beauty in the name." "You," the middle-aged woman glared at Qin Haodong and said, "What kind of person are you? You deserve to be single for the rest of your life." After that, she took the young woman and left without looking back. So Qin Haodong's first blind date was a failure. However, Qin Haodong's face showed a proud smile. He couldn't wait to end the other 2 blind dates as soon as possible. Soon it was time to go on a blind date with the second girl. This girl named Huang Xiaowan had a much better sense of time than Zhang Meili. Her appearance was also above average, but she still looked arrogant. Huang Xiaowan looked at Qin Haodong and said, "You look good. At least you won't lose face if I go out. We can try to date each other." Qin Haodong was slightly surprised that she agreed so easily. He asked, "Don't you want to ask me if I have a house, a car, or savings?" I have a house, a car, and a savings. There's no need to ask you. The girl said, but I also have my conditions. You must promise us before we can be together. Seeing that Huang Xiaowan didn't want a house, a car, or savings, Qin Haodong asked with interest, then tell me, what are your conditions? To tell you the truth, I'm pregnant. After we get married, whether I give birth to a boy or a girl, you have to treat him like your own child. You can't beat him, scold him, or be fierce to him. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned at first. He didn't expect that this woman would come on a blind date when she was pregnant. Seeing that she was still chattering, he said directly, you mean, you want me to treat him like an ancestor? That's basically what I mean. Huang Xiaowan said, I know this kind of thing may not be easy for you men to accept, but I can give you money and you can spend it as you like. Qin Haodong was speechless. What a weirdo. He said, I can't accept this. You'd better ask someone else. Huang Xiaowan didn't seem to give up. She said, why can't you accept it? It's a good thing. You have a beautiful wife and a child. You can be a father directly after you get married. Qin Haodong said, let's not talk about whether my wife is beautiful or not. Grandpa taught me that I can't get things without sewing. I'd better be self-reliant when it comes to things like getting married and having children. Humph. You really don't know what's good for you. Huang Xiaowan glared at Qin Haodong fiercely and then left the coffee shop angrily. Qin Haodong touched his forehead. He didn't expect to meet such two weird women on his first blind date. Fortunately, there was only one left. If he persisted, it would be over. He would take Lin Momo home tomorrow no matter what. After waiting for about an hour, the third blind date came slowly. According to the information given by Grandma, this girl was called Lu Fangfang. She was much prettier than the previous two. She had short hair that reached her ears and looked very refreshing. She was tall and slender, about 1.7 meters tall. Moreover, she had a curvaceous figure. Her figure could be considered rather voluptuous. Lu Fangfang was also more polite. When she saw Qin Haodong, she first smiled and then said politely, hello, my name is Lu Fangfang. Are you Qin Haodong? Seeing such a beautiful and polite girl, Qin Haodong felt a little better. Finally, he had met a normal blind date. He nodded and said, I'm Qin Haodong. I'm a senior at Jiangnan Medical University. I'm majoring in traditional Chinese medicine. I don't have a car or a house, and I don't have a 7-figure deposit in the bank. Seeing that this was the last one, Qin Haodong was eager to complete the task of the blind date. In order to save time, he told her all his conditions before the girl asked. He hoped that Lu Fangfang could be like Zhang Meili, who would just leave, so that he could go home. Unexpectedly, Lu Fangfang didn't react much. She just smiled and said softly, not bad, not bad. Chapter 117. You're really good. Although you don't have a house or a car now, you can earn money in the future. You're so handsome. It's easy to make money. Qin Haodong felt a little awkward when he heard Lu Fangfang's words, but he couldn't find anything wrong. However, he didn't intend to go on this blind date at all. Since she was satisfied with him, he could only pick on her faults. He asked, do you have any shortcomings? The girl blushed and said, I do have one, but I don't know if you can accept it. Seeing that Lu Fangfang was so direct, Qin Haodong asked, what is it? Tell me. Lu Fangfang blushed even more and said in a low voice, it's nothing. I just don't like men. What? What did you say? Qin Haodong couldn't believe his ears. Do you mind if I say I don't like men? Lu Fangfang said. Yes, I do mind. Although Qin Haodong didn't have much hope for this blind date, he still said angrily, why did you come if you don't like men? Do you think I want to come? I have no choice. My mother forced me to get married, but I can't tell her that I don't like men at all. She arranged a blind date for me, so I had to come. In that case, please go back. There's no need for us to talk anymore. Qin Haodong stood up and was about to leave. He had been sitting here for half a day, and now he had finished the task of the blind date. Finally, he could tell his grandmother. Wait a minute, don't rush. Lu Fangfang looked at Qin Haodong eagerly and said, actually, we can get married. What did you say? Qin Haodong began to doubt his hearing for the second time. This woman just said that she didn't like men. Why did she suddenly say that she wanted to get married? If I don't find someone to marry, my secret will be known sooner or later, and my mother will keep arranging blind dates for me. I think you're a good person. Why don't we be together? Before Qin Haodong said anything, Lu Fangfang immediately said, don't be in a hurry to refuse. If you marry me, I can help you find a lot of women. I work in a beauty salon and I know a lot of rich women. They like fresh meat like you. You can play with different women every day, and you can make money. Is there a better marriage than ours? What the hell? Can you be any more ridiculous? Qin Haodong finally understood what Lu Fangfang meant when she said he had good capital. It turned out that this woman wanted to raise him like a duck the moment they met. He could no longer control his emotions. He took out his cell phone from his pocket and dialed a series of numbers. Hello, is this the mental hospital? There's a 2 here. You're driving a woman crazy. Hurry up and take her away. After a series of blind dates, Qin Haodong was greatly stimulated. He grabbed the cold coffee on the table and gulped it down, which made his wounded heart feel better. He was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he took out his mobile phone and dialed Lin Momo's number. After telling her about his tragic experience, he said eagerly, Momo, when will you come? Hurry up and save me, otherwise Grandma will force me to go on a blind date tomorrow. I'll really go crazy then. On the other side of the phone, Lin Momo was shaking with laughter. You've seen 3 girlfriends in one day. Isn't that what you've been dreaming of? Qin Haodong said with annoyance, stop laughing. Be careful, or I'll spank you when we get back. I'll stop laughing. I'm already in Wufeng County, but I have an important business to discuss in the afternoon. I'll be free in the evening. So soon? That's great. Is Tang Tang here? I miss her after one day without seeing her. What Qin Haodong said was true. He felt empty in his heart after one day without seeing the little fellow, as if something important was missing. Tang Tang came with me. Last night, she complained that she missed you. She kept holding the jade you gave her. She said that she would think of you when she held the gift. Thinking of his daughter's lovely appearance, Qin Haodong felt warm in his heart. He said again, did you miss me? Lin Momo hesitated for a moment and finally said, yes, to the phone. After accepting Qin Haodong from the bottom of her heart, her cold appearance had begun to fade. Qin Haodong was very happy. It was commendable that Lin Momo, who was cold, could express her feelings in this way. They chatted for a while, and he asked, where's my daughter? Why didn't she talk to me? Lin Momo said, I have an important negotiation right away. Tang Tang went out with Ms. and, oh. Well, call me when you're done. Qin Haodong hung up the phone with Lin Momo and turned to walk out of the coffee shop. As soon as he went out, Zuolanji came to him with an eager face. Grandson, do you like any of these 3 girls? Grandma, they don't like me. Qin Haodong really didn't want to explain too much to the old lady, so he directly put all the blame on them. This trick worked. The old lady said discontentedly, why don't they like my grandson? My grandson is so excellent. Why don't you like them? Son, don't worry. We still have 3 girls tomorrow. Keep looking. I don't believe we can't find a good girl. Qin Haodong was scared and said quickly, Grandma, I really have a girlfriend. I just called her. I'll see you tonight. Really? You're not lying to me? Really? You'll know when you see her tonight. You'll definitely be satisfied. That's great. That's great. The old lady was so happy that she couldn't close her mouth. She said, "Grandson, come with me to the mall to buy clothes. We have to dress up to meet my granddaughter-in-law in the evening." Qin Haodong certainly couldn't refuse the old lady's interest. He accompanied Zhuolanji to the mall not far away. Before they entered the door, they suddenly heard someone calling, "Dongzi, is that you?" Qin Haodong looked back and saw a sunny and handsome big boy standing behind him, looking at him with a smile. This was Ma Wenjue, his junior high school classmate and close friend. "Ma, it's you." Qin Haodong was also very happy to see his close friend. After going to college, he lost contact with many of his classmates. Only Ma Wenjue and Qin Haodong often kept in touch. "Hello, Grandma." After greeting Zhuolanji, Ma Wenjue punched Qin Haodong hard on the shoulder and said, "When did you come back? Why didn't you call me? Do you still want to be my brother?" "I just came back yesterday. I didn't have time to go shopping with Grandma. I didn't have time to call you." Qin Haodong said, "Let's have a drink tonight. It's my apology to you." Ma Wenjue said, "Forget it. It's our class reunion tonight. You should come with us." "Class reunion? Why didn't I know?" Qin Haodong said. It was organized by Gung Minghui, the class monitor. It was a small gathering of classmates in Wufeng County. "No one knew you were back, so I didn't inform you. But since you are here, let's go together." Ma Wenjue said, "By the way, do you have a girlfriend? If you do, take her with you." The class monitor told the classmates that if you have a family member, and if you have a wife, I'm the only single dog. Qin Haodong asked, "What's wrong? Didn't you break up with that Japanese slave for a while? Why haven't you let her go?" Ma Wenjue used to be a couple with his junior high school classmate, Zhang Xiaowei. They were going to get married some time ago, but Zhang Xiaowei suddenly found a Japanese man. It was not a big deal to find a Japanese man, but the one Zhang Xiaowei found was not only short and ugly, but also often beat her. But when he was beaten, he always smiled. So the classmates called her Japanese slave. "Don't mention that woman. It makes me feel suffocated. Remember to come at 6:00 tonight in the number 1 VIP room of the Fragrance Hotel. Be there or be square." "Okay, I'll be there tonight." Qin Haodong hadn't seen his classmates for a long time. He wanted to go and have a look, but he didn't say whether he would bring a girlfriend or not, because he needed to ask Lin Momo's opinion. After Ma Wenjue left, Qin Haodong accompanied Zhuolanji into the shopping mall and began to shop. At the same time, a big event happened in the officialdom of Jiangnan City. Li Changji, the former secretary of the Commission for Discipline Inspection, officially became the acting mayor of Jiangnan City. Li Changji had a very good reputation in Jiangnan City. He was an upright official and very smart. He was the most competitive one among many candidates for mayor. In the morning, the leaders officially sent people to inspect several candidates. Some of them wanted to make a fuss about Li Changji's health, but no one expected that his leg, which had not been cured for many years, suddenly recovered. He was in excellent health, which made him invulnerable. In the afternoon, the organization announced the decision to appoint him as the acting mayor. In the office of the county magistrate of Wufeng County, Zhao Yang frowned. What Fu Haiken had done had a very bad influence on Wufeng County. Although it had nothing to do with him, as the county magistrate in charge, he still couldn't shirk the responsibility. The most important thing was that this case was personally supervised by Li Changji. Now he was promoted to the mayor. Although he was temporarily the acting mayor, everyone knew that it was just a matter of formality. The new mayor had just taken office, and he had left a bad impression on him. Of course, it was not a good thing for Zhao Yang. He cursed 18 generations of Fu Haiken's ancestors in his heart, but the reality didn't change at all. No, I must hurry to change my impression on the mayor, or my future will be bleak. Zhao Yang kept pacing in the office, thinking about how to change his impression on Li Changji. Suddenly, he thought of the young man who was respected by Shi Kuai and Li Changji. In the final analysis, Fu Haiken's case was caused by Qin Haodong, and it could be seen that Shi Kuai and Li Changji had a special relationship with him. If Qin Haodong could put in a good word for him, it would be more effective than anything else. Thinking of this, he found the phone number left by Qin Haodong yesterday and immediately dialed it. As soon as Qin Haodong walked into the mall, his phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and found it was a strange number. He pressed the answer button and heard the person on the phone said politely, "Hello, Mr. Qin, I'm Zhao Yang." Qin Haodong was slightly stunned, and then realized that Zhao Yang was Magistrate Zhao. He said, "Hello, Magistrate Zhao. Well, Mr. Qin, I want to invite you to dinner tonight. Do you have time?" "Magistrate Zhao, what can I do for you?" Qin Haodong was very clear that as a county magistrate, Zhao Yang would not invite him for dinner for no reason. Zhao Yang said, "Such an unpleasant thing happened to you in Wufeng County, and I'm responsible as a local magistrate. So I want to invite you to dinner to express my apology. Please don't refuse, Mr. Qin." Qin Haodong thought about it. After all, many of his relatives would live in Wufeng County in the future, and it was good to have a good relationship with the magistrate. So he said, "Magistrate Zhao, thank you for your concern, but I have something to do tonight. How about 8 o'clock? "Sure. Sure. Then let's meet at 8 o'clock in the Fragrant Hotel. I'll send someone to pick you up. Mr. Qin, I won't bother you anymore." Chapter 118. Seeing that Qin Haodong accepted his invitation, Zhao Yang breathed a sigh of relief. After hanging up the phone, he felt much happier. He picked up the notebook on the table and walked into the meeting room next to him. Qin Haodong accompanied Zuolanji to shop for the whole afternoon. He bought some new clothes for the old lady, gold rings and earrings, and decorated her from head to toe. It was nearly 6 o'clock in the evening when he sent Zuolanji home. He drove directly to the Fragrant Hotel. He just left here last night and came here again today. But it was not surprising. Wufeng County was a small county, and there was only one high-class hotel. Soon after he got in the car, his cell phone rang again. It was Lin Momo. "Papa, I miss you." Hearing the voice of the little fellow, Qin Haodong felt his bones were soft. He said happily, "Papa misses you too. Papa, tell me where you are. I'll go to find you with Mama." The little fellow said eagerly. Qin Haodong asked the little fellow to give the phone to Lin Momo, and then said, "I'm going to attend a class reunion. You can come with me. Is it appropriate for me to go?" Lin Momo said with some confidence. "Of course it's appropriate. Take the little fellow with you. Those guys will be jealous when they see our two beauties." Lin Momo thought for a moment and said, "Well, tell me the address. I'll take Tang Tang there now. You're not familiar with the road. I'll send you the location when I get there." Qin Haodong said, "What have you been doing this afternoon?" "Lin's group wants to build a jade processing industrial base in Wufeng County. We've taken a fancy to a piece of land and just attended the land bidding. How's the result? With the financial resources of Lin's group, there should be no problem, right?" Qin Haodong said. "It's hard to say. I don't feel very optimistic." Speaking of this, Lin Momo's tone was a little low. "How is it possible? Is there any company more powerful than Lin's group in Wufeng County? You don't know. The business world is very complicated. It's not only the strength of the company, but also other factors, such as interpersonal relationships and so on. Our main opponent today is Pang's Group, a local enterprise in Wuxia County. Although they are not large, they are local enterprises and have a very close relationship with all aspects of the county, so I don't think the chance of success is high. Qin Haodong said, "Would you like me to help you? You can't help me with this kind of business competition. I'll handle it myself." In Lin Momo's eyes, although Qin Haodong was a native of Wuxia County, he was just a student with an ordinary family background. It was impossible for him to help her. Qin Haodong smiled and said nothing more. "Well, let's talk about it when we meet." In the first VIP room of the 10 Miles Fragrance Hotel, although it was not yet time for the official gathering, 7 or 8 people had already arrived. They were all Qin Haodong's classmates in junior high school. Most of them did not go to college. After graduating from junior high school, they began to find their own jobs, including Ma Wenjue, who had been working everywhere to make a living. At this time, the students who had arrived earlier were all gathered together to talk, and the family of 3 was sitting in the center. The woman was Qin Haodong's classmate, Zhu Linlin. At this time, she was holding a little boy of 3 or 4 years old in her arms. What was different about the little boy was that his skin was black and his hair was curly. He was a purebred black man. And the little boy's father, who was Zhu Linlin's husband, was even darker and shiny. He was 190 meters tall and looked very strong with muscles all over his body. "Linlin, I really envy you. You can find a foreigner." The one who spoke was a slightly fat girl. It was Ma Wenjue's ex-girlfriend, Zhang Xiaowei. "Marrying Kafu is the best choice in my life. He is very good to me and very rich," Zhu Linlin said with a proud face, deliberately showing the big diamond ring on her right hand. "Xiaowei, you are also good. I heard that you are going to marry to Neon soon." Zhang Xiaowei suddenly became energetic and said proudly, "Yes, my boyfriend is a construction engineer in Neon. He is preparing for the wedding. I will marry him next year." "You worship foreign things. I really don't know what you women think. Now our country is getting stronger day by day. Is it so good to marry abroad?" It was Ma Wenjue who spoke. He came very early today. At first, he didn't say anything, but then he couldn't bear it anymore. He said to Zhang Xiaowei angrily, "Even if you want to marry abroad, you don't have to find a Neon man. Look at your Kamita Jiro. He is less than 1.5 meters tall and walks with bowed legs. I heard that his parents raise pigs in Neon. Are you going to raise pigs?" Zhang Xiaowei immediately screamed as if her tail had been stepped on. "Ma Wenjue, what are you talking about? What's wrong with being short? What's wrong with raising pigs? They are rich. No matter how bad my boyfriend is, he is 10,000 times better than you, a poor man who works everywhere. I was really blind to fall in love with a person like you." Zhu Linlin glared at Ma Wenjue. Obviously, she was extremely dissatisfied with the words, "worship foreign things," just now. She then said, "Ma Wenjue, I didn't expect you to be so nationalistic. But foreign men are better than you. If you have the ability, you should also make more money, so that we don't have to go abroad to find one. So I think Xiaowei's choice is right. You are not so good, so don't be jealous of others." After that, she also leaned against Kafu's dark body, with a look that said, "Don't be jealous of me." With Zhu Linlin's help, Zhang Xiaowei was even more energetic. She pointed at Ma Wenjue's nose and shouted, "Although he is short, he can make money. You are tall, but you will still be poor for the rest of your life." She then said to several female students next to her, "We women should not be stupid when looking for a boyfriend. Linlin is the best example. When she was in school, she also chased after Qin Haodong in our class. Now everyone has seen that Qin Haodong is handsome, but what's the use? Can being handsome be used to eat? Can being handsome be used to spend money? If Linlin married him, would that poor boy be happy now? You. Ma Wenzhua trembled with anger. He stamped his feet hard and turned to leave. No one could stop him. As soon as he went out, he bumped into Qin Haodong, who had just come. Ma, you are so early. Where are you going? Ma Wenzhua said angrily, Dongzi, this place is not suitable for us to stay. Let's go. I'll treat you to a drink. Qin Haodong glanced at Zhang Xiaowei, who was standing at the door with her arms crossed. He immediately understood what was going on and whispered, What's wrong? Are you still angry with that slave? Ma Wenzhua said, Dongzi, why do women nowadays become so snobbish? It's so annoying. In fact, it's normal for Zhang Xiaowei to break up with me. It's not that I can't forget her. It's just that she found a short, ugly, and bow-legged neon man. I really can't swallow it. And Zhu Linlin, who pursued you, turned around and found a big black man. Then she gave birth to a little black man. What's so good about that? For the sake of stinky money, she made her children and grandchildren all black men. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He still remembered Zhu Linlin. She was a good-looking girl. She had pursued him for a year in junior high school, but he didn't agree. He didn't expect that she would end up with a black man. It had to be said that black people had strong genes. No matter if they were white or yellow, as long as they married a black man, their children would all be black. This couldn't be changed no matter how much money they had. Forget it. Why are you angry with her? We can't leave. If we leave, it's exactly what the slave wants. We're here for the class reunion. Just ignore her. Ma Wenzhua thought that it was really embarrassing to leave like this, so he followed them back. Seeing Ma Wenzhua return to the box, Zhang Xiaowei said sarcastically, What's wrong? Did someone give you courage to meet your fellow sufferer? Qin Haodong said, Forget it, Xiaowei. We're all here for the class reunion. Let's talk about something fun. He originally wanted to calm down the conflict between Ma Wenzhua and Zhang Xiaowei and let it go. Qin Haodong, why are you pretending to be a good person? Everyone knows that you and Ma Wenzhua are in the same boat. But there's one thing that you're exactly the same. You're both poor. Qin Haodong's face suddenly darkened. He didn't expect this woman to be so unreasonable. Ma Wenzhua said angrily, Zhang Xiaowei, are you a mad dog? Bite whoever you see. Did Haodong offend you? What? Am I wrong? Zhang Xiaowei pointed to Zhu Linlin, who was sitting next to them and watching the fun, and said, Look at Linlin now. She's wearing famous brands. Look at the diamond ring on her hand. It's bigger than a pigeon's egg. If she had followed Qin Haodong, I'm afraid that she would also be working outside and wearing the same clothes. Xiaowei, it's all in the past. Don't talk about it. We were young and ignorant at that time. Fortunately, we didn't make a lifelong mistake. As she spoke, she stretched out her right hand, stroked the huge diamond ring, and said, In fact, this ring is not too expensive. It's only about 500,000 yuan. I guess Qin Haodong can buy such a ring even if he doesn't eat or drink for 8 or 10 years. Dongzi, look at them, Ma Wenzhua's face was red. He was about to explode because of these two powerful women. Qin Haodong had 500 years of experience, so he didn't care too much about this kind of trifle. He said, Forget it. It's all in the past. Let them say whatever they want. He didn't want to talk about it anymore, but Zhang Xiaowei didn't let it go. Qin Haodong had the best relationship with Ma Wenzhua, so she also hated Qin Haodong. She said sarcastically, It sounds like what we said was unreasonable. Am I wrong? Poor people like you can only deceive ignorant little girls with your looks. Now we are all adults, and no one will be fooled by you anymore. What's the result? You two are single dogs, right? You two are single. No woman will be stupid enough to fall for poor people like you. That's why it's useless for a man to be handsome. The most important thing is to have the ability to make money. Zhu Linlin also said, Xiaowi's words may be a little harsh, but it's true. You two don't even have a girlfriend. Look at us. Xiaowi is going to get married soon. My baby is already 3.5 years old. Don't you think it's cute? As she spoke, she held up the little black boy in her hand to show off to everyone. Ma Wenjue was so angry that he said, "It's so black. What's so cute about it? Why can't I see it?" Zhu Linlin didn't like it and said angrily, "You poor man, what are you talking about?" Zhang Xiaowi said, "Linlin, don't lower yourself to their level. They can't even find a wife, so they are jealous." Zhu Linlin snorted, "Sour grapes. If you have the ability, give birth to a cute one." Chapter 119. Hearing the voice, everyone turned to look at the door at the same time. A little girl of 3 or 4 years old appeared at the door. She had a head of long black hair, a jade-like face, and big eyes like the stars. Coupled with a pink gauze dress, she looked like a princess from a fairy tale or a large doll. She was really very cute. Whose child was this? She was so cute. Her parents must be very beautiful, or they would never have given birth to such an elf-like little girl. Just when everyone was puzzled, the little girl threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms like a bird and kissed him on both cheeks. "Papa, I miss you so much. Oh my God, this is Qin Haodong's daughter." Everyone in the room was stunned. No one had expected Qin Haodong to have such a big daughter. Especially Zhu Linlin and Zhang Xiaowi, they were even more confused at this time. They had just laughed at Qin Haodong for not being able to find a wife, and in the blink of an eye, his daughter ran to them, and she was tens of thousands of times cuter than the little black boy in Zhu Linlin's arms. Qin Haodong was not surprised by the little fellow's arrival at all. He had already sent his location to Lin Momo before entering the door. "Tang Tang, where's Mama?" "Mama is behind me." The little fellow pointed back. Everyone's eyes gathered at the door again. A woman in a white professional suit came in. She looked about 20 years old. Although she was wearing a professional suit, it still could not hide her hot figure. She was curvy, especially the 2 towering mountains on her chest, which were enough to shatter the pride of all the women present. What was more eye-catching than her figure was her appearance, which was almost perfect and impeccable. There were no dead angles, and it was extremely exquisite. She had the face of an angel and the body of a devil. The room was strangely quiet for a moment, and only the sound of some male creatures swallowing could be heard occasionally. This woman was not only beautiful, but also had a hot figure and a strong aura. As soon as she appeared, she shocked everyone in the room. Lin Momo moved her sexy long legs and came to Qin Haodong's side under everyone's gaze. She reached out and took his arm. After looking around, she said domineeringly, "Who said my husband can't find a wife? He just doesn't like ordinary rotten leaves." Suddenly, there was a dead silence in the room. Everyone had different reactions. The boys were full of envy, jealousy, and hatred for Qin Haodong. They couldn't understand how a poor boy like him could find such a noble and beautiful woman. The girls were extremely shocked. The woman in front of them had a noble temperament, and her looks were off the charts. Moreover, one look and they could tell that she was a person of wealth and status. This kind of woman could no longer be simply described as fair, rich and beautiful. In comparison, people like them could only be called coarse branches and rotten leaves. Zhang Xiaowi, who had been aggressive just a moment ago, was now like an old hen whose neck had been strangled, unable to make any sound. She had always been an unforgiving woman. Her words were extremely mean, and she had never given people any leeway. But at this time, she had completely lost her fighting spirit. Facts spoke louder than words. Lin Momo only needed to stand beside Qin Haodong to make the most powerful counterattack. Now she was completely defeated and had nothing to say. She had been slapped in the face. As a former pursuer of Qin Haodong, Zhu Linlin's face was the ugliest at this time. The hateful woman who had just come in had said that she, who had always been proud, was a coarse branch and rotten leaves. This was unacceptable in any case. She wanted to fight back, but when she saw Lin Momo's impeccable beauty and noble temperament, she suddenly felt that she couldn't say anything. The tall black man, Cafu, originally knew little about Wuxia, so when Ma Wenjue and others were quarreling, he had never spoken. But there was no need for words to recognize a beauty. When he saw Lin Momo, Cafu immediately widened his eyes and almost drooled. He ran forward and said in stiff Wuxia language, "Hello, beautiful lady. My name is Cafu. I come from the powerful M country. I have a business in Wuxia, and my assets can reach tens of millions. Can we be friends?" After that, Cafu reached out his big black hand to Lin Momo, his face full of expectation. Seeing this scene in front of her, Zhu Linlin's face suddenly became even uglier. She was sitting next to him, but her husband went to talk to another woman, which really made her lose face. However, a woman like her, who completely depended on a man to survive, had no status at home. Although her heart was full of anger, she dared not show it. "I don't like black, and I don't want to be friends with you." After Lin Momo finished speaking, she didn't even have the interest to look at Cafu again, let alone shake hands with him. She directly turned her head to Qin Haodong. Cafu didn't expect this Wuxia girl to refuse him. After a stunned look, he shouted, "You can't do this. As long as you are with me, I can buy you gifts and give you money, a lot of money." Lin Momo didn't expect this big black man to be endless. She showed a face of disgust, but this time she didn't even have the interest to talk, so she went directly to the other side of Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong glanced at Cafu, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. This black man was really ignorant. He dared to say that 10 million yuan of assets was a lot of money. Even Lin Momo's pocket money was 10 times more than his. Although Cafu's face was very black and thick, he also felt embarrassed at this time and retreated in embarrassment. Seeing Zhang Xiaowei, Zhu Linlin, and others being humiliated one after another, Ma Wenjue, as a best friend and close brother, was very happy. He punched Qin Haodong's chest fiercely. "Your daughter is so big, but you hide it from me. Do you still regard me as a brother?" Qin Haodong pretended to cover his chest with a painful face. There was no way to explain this kind of thing, so he could only muddle through. "Uncle, you can't hit my papa," the little fellow said unhappily. No. Your father and I are best friends. We are just playing." Ma Wenjue said with a loving face, "Tang, can you let uncle hug you? Are you really a friend of papa?" The little fellow blinked her big eyes and asked. "Of course, I used to wear the same pants as your father," Ma Wenjue said. "Well, papa's friend can hug me." "Great, Tang is so cute." After Ma Wenjue finished speaking, he took the little fellow from Qin Haodong's arms. He looked very loving and careful, as if he was holding a rare treasure. After holding the little fellow in his arms, he remembered that Lin Momo was next to him. He quickly said, "Hello, sister-in-law. My name is Ma Wenjue. Haodong, we are best friends." It was the first time that someone called her sister-in-law. Lin Momo's cheeks turned red. She saw that the relationship between Ma Wenjue and Qin Haodong was really not ordinary. She said politely, "Hello, Lin Momo. Sister-in-law, don't stand there. Sit down." At this time, the depression in Ma Wenjue's chest was swept away. He warmly invited Lin Momo to sit down, and then he also pulled a chair and sat next to Qin Haodong. The little fellow looked around and said to Qin Haodong, "Papa, can I play with that little friend?" At Qin Haodong's age, there were not many classmates who were married, and there were even fewer who had children. Now in the private room, the little black boy was Tang Tang's only playmate. Of course. Although Qin Haodong did not like Zhu Linlin's behavior very much, a child was a child after all. He did not think much about it. He directly put the little fellow on the ground and let her play with the little black boy. Children's minds were much simpler than that of adults. Soon, the two children played together. Ma Wenjue looked at the two children standing together and said with emotion, "There is no harm without comparison." Qin Haodong understood what he meant. The little black boy was not likable, and now he was standing next to Tang Tang. It was really a bit tragic, but he still said, "They are all children. You'd better be kind to them. She is a good Wuxia person, but she has to find a big black guy. I really don't understand what she is thinking." Ma Wenjue muttered and then said no more. After what had just happened, the room seemed a little awkward. Fortunately, it was approaching the time of the party. More and more students came, and the atmosphere gradually became lively. At this time, a beautiful girl walked into the private room. As soon as she entered the door, all the girls in the room surrounded her. "Wenqing, you are here. Wenqing, come sit with me." Qin Haodong knew this girl. She was his junior high school classmate, Wu Wenqing. But when they were in school, she did not show much and usually did not talk much. He did not know why she suddenly became popular. He said to Ma Wenjue, "Is this Wu Wenqing? What is she doing now? Why is she so popular?" Ma Wenjue said, "Wu Wenqing is very good now. She learned jade appraisal from her grandfather. She just passed the appraisal some time ago. Now she is one of the few jade appraisers in our Wufeng County. She works in the jade store of Lin's group in Wufeng County. Girls nowadays like to buy some jewelry, and they want to ask Wu Wenqing to help them. That's why she is so popular." "Oh." Qin Haodong nodded and turned back to whisper in Lin Momo's ear, "I didn't expect to see an employee of Lin's group. Do you know her?" Feeling Qin Haodong's breath, Lin Momo felt a burst of heat on her cheeks. She said, "There are 20 or 30 branches of Lin's group, and the branch in Wufeng County is the lowest level. How can I know all the employees?" Qin Haodong thought about it and agreed. Lin's group was really too big. Although compared to Lin Momo, Wu Wenqing was the lowest employee, but over there, a group of female students surrounded her like stars around the moon, and they were very enthusiastic. "Wenqing, help me check this. This is a jade bracelet I bought a few days ago when I was traveling. Is it real? What? Fake? Oh my god, my 800 yuan is wasted. Wenqing, how much do you think my gem necklace is worth?" "Wenqing, the ring seller said mine is mutton fat jade. Do you think it's real?" Wu Wenqing was quite easygoing. She patiently answered the questions of many female students one by one. After getting the answer, some of these female students were happy, and some looked bitter. When everyone had seen enough, the room slowly quieted down. Zhu Linlin glanced at Lin Momo and Qin Haodong, raised the big diamond ring on her hand, and gave it to Wu Wenqing. She deliberately raised her voice and said, "Wenqing, help me check this. This is a birthday gift from my husband. How much is it worth?" Chapter 120. Wu Wenqing took Zhu Linlin's ring and held it in his hand. He looked at it carefully and said, "Linlin, this diamond ring of yours is good. Whether it's color, clarity, or cutting, it's of the best quality. It's estimated to be about 500,000 yuan. Hearing that a ring was worth 500,000 yuan, the girls around her all looked at her with envy. Zhu Linlin said proudly, "It's really worth 500,000 yuan. I didn't believe it when my husband gave it to me at first. It's just a birthday and he gave me such an expensive gift. Although his family is rich, it's too wasteful. Oh my god, a 500,000 yuan birthday gift. Lin Lin, you're so lucky. I'll be satisfied if my boyfriend gives me a 50,000 yuan diamond ring on my birthday in a few days. Lin Lin, your husband is so rich. Zhu Linlin became more and more proud and said, it's not easy for a woman to find a husband who spoils her, and it's even more difficult to find a rich husband who can spoil her. Not everyone can afford a 500,000 yuan diamond ring, not even a toy boy. After that, she also looked at Qin Haodong provocatively. The meaning in her eyes was self-evident. Wu Wenqing didn't make a fuss like other girls. As a jewelry appraiser, her vision was naturally high. She often saw jewelry worth 5 million yuan, let alone 500,000 yuan. She reached out and handed the ring back to Zhu Linlin. But when she reached out halfway, she suddenly looked excited and looked to the side with dull eyes. This abnormal behavior immediately attracted the attention of all the girls. They all looked in the direction of Wu Wenqing's eyes, but they saw nothing unusual except that Tang Tang was holding a green stone and playing with it. What's wrong, Wenqing? Zhu Linlin asked. Wu Wenqing didn't say anything. She directly put the ring in her hand and then quickly came to Tang Tang. She looked excited and said, little girl, can you lend me the stone in your hand to have a look? I thought it was something important. What's so interesting about a broken stone? Zhu Linlin said discontentedly. She had just used the ring to show off and hadn't had enough fun, but Wu Wenqing's action had diverted everyone's attention. Naturally, she was unhappy. The other students didn't understand what was wrong with Wu Wenqing. She was calm when she saw Zhu Linlin's ring, which was worth 500,000 yuan. Why was she so excited when she saw a stone? The little fellow looked at Wu Wenqing and said, Auntie, this is a toy from Papa. Mama said I can't show it to anyone. Then hold it in your hand and let Auntie have a look. Wu Wenqing didn't care about the comments of the surrounding students at all. He was still looking at the green stone in the little fellow's hand with an excited expression. The little fellow hesitated and said, okay, but I can only look. After saying that, Tang Tang handed the green stone to Wu Wenqing. Wu Wenqing held the little fellow's hand and looked more and more excited. He murmured, King's green. King's green. King green. Can, King's Qing. Zhang Xiaohui pushed Wu Wenqing and said, Wenqing, are you stupid? Why are you talking to a rock? Wu Wenqing took a deep breath to calm his excitement and said, you don't know about gems. This is not an ordinary stone, but the most precious jade, the Ice King green. Jade? Is it valuable? Zhang Xiaohui's family was very ordinary. She had never heard of King's green. It's valuable. Of course it's valuable. Wu Wenqing murmured. She hadn't fully recovered from the shock. Look at you. No matter how valuable it is, it can't be more valuable than Linlin's ring. Zhang Xiaohui said. It's not comparable. It's not comparable. Wu Wenqing said and stood up, but he was still looking at the jade in the little fellow's hand reluctantly. I said it's not comparable. My husband gave me a ring worth 500,000 yuan. It's not comparable to a stone. Zhu Linlin knew that the little fellow was Qin's daughter, so she wouldn't let go of any opportunity to belittle him. Unexpectedly, as soon as she finished speaking, she heard Wu Wenqing say, what I mean is that your ring can't be compared to this stone. This is the best ice imperial green, worth at least 100 million yuan. If you exchange it for your ring, you can buy at least 200 or 300 of them. It's impossible. It's impossible. How can such a broken stone be more expensive than my diamond ring? Zhu Linlin was a little hysterical. She had always felt that she was richer than Qin Haodong. This was the root of her inner sense of superiority. If she was trampled on again, she would have nothing. While speaking, she reached out to grab the raw jade stone in the little fellow's hand. Show me what kind of stone this is. How can it be so valuable? No, it's my toy. The little fellow dodged Zhu Linlin. Recently, she had been practicing Shen Sutra and had achieved some results. She was more than 10 times faster than children of the same age. Papa, that bad auntie is going to grab my toy. The little fellow ran to Qin Haodong and threw herself into his arms. Qin Haodong took the raw jade stone from the little fellow's hand and said, "Tang Tang, Papa has told you that this toy should be kept at home. You can't take it outside. Otherwise, children from poor families and parents who have no money to buy toys will definitely grab it when they see it." What he said was completely in the tone of educating a child, but everyone could hear that it was a slap in Zhu Linlin's face. Qin Haodong, make it clear. Who are you calling poor? Who don't have money to buy toys for children? Let me tell you, my husband has a net worth of more than 10 million yuan. The diamond ring on my hand is worth 500,000 yuan. Don't think that you can cheat people with a broken stone. You can cheat others, but you can't cheat me at all. Don't I know how poor your family is? While she was chattering, Wu Wenqing saw Lin Momo, who was next to Qin Haodong. She had just calmed down and became excited again. She walked 2 steps to Lin Momo and said with a little nervousness, "Hello, are you President Lin?" Although she was also an employee of Lin's group, she had never seen Lin Momo in person. She had only seen Lin Momo's photos inside the group. Lin Momo nodded and said, "It's me." "Great, President Lin, I finally meet you." "You are my idol," Wu Wenqing said excitedly. Qin Haodong said, "Momo, this is my junior high school classmate Wu Wenqing. She works in your group. Take care of her in the future." Wu Wenqing saw Qin Haodong and said, "Haodong, I was too busy just now and didn't have time to talk to you. When did you come back? How do you know President Lin?" The two had a good relationship when they were at school, so they didn't hesitate to talk. Before Qin Haodong could speak, the little fellow cried, "Auntie, this is my papa, and this is my mama." Hearing the little fellow's words, Wu Wenqing's eyes instantly widened. She never thought that Qin Haodong could be with her idol. Since Qin Haodong had spoken, she had to give him face. She said to Wu Wenqing, "I see that you are very good at jade appraisal. Have you studied it professionally?" Wu Wenqing said, "I've liked jade since I was a child. My grandfather is an expert in this field. I learned a lot from him and became a first-class appraiser a few days ago." "Good, your eyes are very sharp. You can see that this is the Ice King green, and the appraisal is accurate. You do have the qualification to be an appraiser." Lin Momo said, "Since you are Haodong's classmate, we are not strangers. Would you like to come to the headquarters of the group?" "Yes. Of course." Wu Wenqing said hurriedly. It was the dream of every employee of Lin's group to be able to enter the headquarters of the group. Because the headquarters not only paid well, but also had more opportunities and more room for improvement. Because of this, it was extremely difficult for ordinary people to enter the headquarters of the group. Lin Momo said, "Well, get ready tomorrow and report to the headquarters the day after tomorrow. The initial salary is 50,000 yuan. If you perform well in the future, you can raise it again." Everyone present was shocked. They never dreamed that Qin Haodong's girlfriend turned out to be the president of Lin's group. Everyone in Jiangnan City knew about Lin's group. It was one of the largest financial groups. If ordinary people worked there, they could enter the high-income group in one step. At the same time, Lin's group's jade industry was well known in Wuxia. At this time, no one doubted that the jade in the little fellow's hand was a stone. Zhang Xiaohui was dumbfounded. She never thought that Qin Haodong, who she looked down on the most, would be the president of Lin's group. No wonder his child could play with jade that was worth 100 million yuan. That was because he was rich. Zhu Linlin was the most irritated. Lin's group's industry was as high as tens of billions. It was ridiculous that she just showed off her husband's industry, which was worth more than 10 million yuan. It was nothing in front of Lin's group. She had always liked to show off the diamond ring on her hand, but now it couldn't be compared with the toy in the hands of Qin Haodong's child. She had no capital to show off at all. It seemed that compared with Qin Haodong, she was indeed a real poor person. What's the big deal? So what if you have money? Good health is the most important thing. Who among you can be stronger than my husband? Zhu Linlin reluctantly found a reason to comfort herself, and then sat back in her seat. This time, she took off the diamond ring and put it in her bag. She never took it out to show off again. However, everyone knew that she was seeking self-comfort. Those envious eyes that looked at her turned into sarcasm. As Zhu Linlin and Zhang Xiaohui closed their mouths, the matter just passed. The students began to chat in groups of 2 or 3 again, but the focus obviously shifted to Lin Momo and Qin Haodong. Ma Wenjue said in Qin Haodong's ear, "Dongzi, you're really good. You even got the president of Lin's group. Don't look at me like that, okay? I'm not a man who lives off a woman." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "What are you busy with recently? Would you like to come to Jiangnan to help me?" He knew that his brother was still very talented, but he lacked the opportunity to show it. If he could come to Jiangnan City to help him, it would definitely be a great help. Ma Wenjue said with a smile, "Well, I heard that there are many beautiful women in Lin's group. The salary is not a big deal. The key is to solve personal problems." Qin Haodong said with a smirk, "You don't have to think about beautiful women. I opened a security company. I don't have beautiful women, but I have a group of men. I can find all kinds of men." Ma Wenjue instantly got goosebumps and cried, "What the hell, I don't have such a heavy taste like you." Qin Haodong said, "Come to me, your salary will not be lower than Wu Wenqing's. We're brothers, don't talk about money. Anyway, I can feed myself and my family is not hungry. You can take care of my meals." Chapter 121. Zhu Linlin quickly ran over and asked, "Kanua, what's wrong with you?" "It's all her fault. It's all her fault." The little black boy pointed at her and said. The little fellow looked innocent and explained, "Auntie, it's not my fault. I just gave him a piece of chocolate. He bit his finger." It turned out that the 2 children were having a good time together. She took out 2 pieces of dark chocolate from her pocket, one for herself and the other for Kanua. The little black boy had never eaten chocolate before. He thought it was delicious, but after 2 bites, he bit his finger. In Wuxia, there was a joke that black people couldn't eat dark chocolate because it was easy to bite their fingers. No one expected that they would meet the reality version today. So after listening to the little fellow, everyone immediately understood what was going on and couldn't help laughing. Ma Wenjue laughed so hard that he couldn't catch his breath and said, "It's so funny. It's really funny. This child is so cruel. He bit himself like this. There's really no one else like him." Zhu Linlin was distressed and angry when she saw her son bite her finger. She shouted angrily at the little fellow, "Who asked you to give him chocolate? We usually don't buy it for him. Why did you give it to him?" Ma Wenjue said, "Zhu Linlin, can you be more shameless? She gave your son food because of unity and friendship. How dare you criticize her? You can only blame your son for being too dark and unable to distinguish fingers from chocolate." After he finished speaking, the students around him also began to talk about it. Everyone one-sidedly said that it was not the little fellow's fault. Zhu Linlin shouted angrily, "What are you talking about? You just think he's rich. You can't do this to flatter him. Linlin, how can you talk like this? We are talking reason with you. What does it have to do with flattery? Zhu Linlin, can you be reasonable? We are all classmates. Is it necessary to do this?" Just as everyone was arguing with Zhu Linlin, the little black boy seemed to have sensed his mother's emotions and became crazy. He rushed toward the little fellow viciously and slammed his black head into the little fellow's face. The people next to her exclaimed. Although they were all children, Tang Tang's cute face would definitely be hurt if she bumped into them. Maybe her nose would be broken. However, it was too sudden, and there were no adults around the two children. It was too late to stop them. Just when everyone was sweating for the little fellow, Tang Tang suddenly flashed to the side and nimbly avoided Kano's collision. But after she dodged, because Kanoa used too much force, he couldn't stop even if he wanted to. All of a sudden, he crashed into the corner of the table at the side, and a bloody wound immediately opened up on his forehead, fresh blood flowing out. Wah! The little black boy didn't bump into the little fellow, but he was injured again. He felt extremely wronged and started crying like a wolf. You! It's all your fault that my son got hurt again. Zhu Linlin vented all her anger on the little fellow. Don't blame me. He was the one who hit me. The little fellow looked aggrieved as he tried his best to explain. But at this time, a big black claw grabbed the little fellow's chest. It turned out that Crawford, who was standing on the side, was angry. He also blamed his son's injury on Tang Tang. Although the little fellow's physical quality was far better than that of her peers, the time of practicing Shantian Sutra was too short after all, and she couldn't be compared with adults. Seeing that Crawford's big hand was about to grab Tang Tang's chest, another hand stretched out from the side and grabbed Crawford's wrist with a bang. Qin Haodong's hand was much smaller than Kafu's, and his arm was not as strong as the muscular Kafu's. But with such a casual grab, Kafu's thick arm seemed to be fixed, and it was difficult to move forward. Wuxia man, you're courting death. Crawford yelled, and his other fist hit Qin Haodong's face with the sound of the wind. Qin Haodong raised his hand and grabbed Crawford's other wrist. Crawford wanted to struggle, but he couldn't shake Qin Haodong's hands with all his strength, as if he was clamped by an iron clamp. Black man, I'll let you go this time for the sake of the class reunion. If you dare to touch my daughter again next time, I'll break your bones. After Qin Haodong finished speaking, he gently pushed his hands forward. Crawford's body, which weighed 200 kilograms, flew out in the air, smashed several chairs in succession, and rolled on the ground a few times. Finally, he hit the wall and stopped. The people present were frightened. They didn't expect that Qin Haodong, who didn't look strong, could easily deal with the tall Crawford. Qin Haodong held the little fellow in his arms. Tang Tang said with a wronged face, Papa, it's really not my fault. I just gave him a piece of chocolate. I know, it's not your fault. Tang Tang is a good girl. Qin Haodong comforted her. Zhu Linlin had just lifted her son, and she didn't expect her husband to be beaten to crawl on the ground. She roared angrily, Qin Haodong, what do you want to do? It's not what I want to do, but what do your family want to do? Qin Haodong's expression was completely cold. He didn't care about Zhu Linlin's sarcasm just now. After all, they were classmates. But now this black man dared to hurt his daughter, which was absolutely unforgivable. It's your child's lack of education that caused my son to suffer such a serious injury. You must apologize and compensate us for our losses. Ma Wenjue said unfairly, Zhu Linlin, can't you be a little shameless? It's obvious that your son has no education. He bit his own hand and vented his anger on Tang Tang. It's his own fault that he fell down. Can you blame him just because his surname is Zhu? Zhang Xiaohui had always been on the same side as Zhu Linlin. She said, anyway, Linlin's husband and son were injured. An apology and compensation are necessary. Qin Haodong said coldly, if you just lack money to see a doctor, as a classmate, I can give you some, but if you want my daughter to apologize, it's impossible, because my daughter is not wrong. Wu Wenqing said, we are all classmates. Today's incident was also an accident. Let's talk about compensation later. Hurry up and send the child to the hospital. Zhu Linlin cried rudely, no, Qin Haodong hurt my son and husband. He must apologize and compensate us today. At this time, Crawford also got up from the ground, but this time he already knew how powerful Qin Haodong was. He no longer dared to step forward, but stood beside Zhu Linlin and cried, how dare you hit me? I'm a citizen of M country. I'm going to complain to the embassy. We are first-class citizens in the world. You Wuxia people must pay the price. If you don't want me to complain, give me that green stone. After he said this, more than a dozen classmates in the private room looked at Crawford as if they were looking at an idiot. This black man was really greedy. The King Green Jade was worth more than 100 million yuan. He wanted to take it for himself because of such a small thing, and the responsibility was on his side. Ma Wenjue cried, black man, first-class citizen, bullshit. You can complain as you like. Do you think our Wuxia is still the Wuxia of the past? Now Wuxia people are not afraid of your M country. That's right. Do you think we Wuxia people are easy to bully? Get out of here. You are not welcome here. Crawford's words angered the public, and everyone drove him away together. What are you doing? My husband and my son were injured. If you do this again, I will call the police. Zhu Linlin shouted loudly, but it was obvious that she was not confident. She was completely fierce in appearance but weak in heart. Call the police as you like. We can testify for Qin Haodong. Your son's injury is his own fault. Big black man's injury is also his own fault. Zhu Linlin, you have become like this after marrying a black man. You should go, too. Our classmates don't welcome you, that's right. Don't say that I'm your classmate in the future. I can't afford to lose that person. Seeing that she had angered the public, Zhu Linlin did not know whether to stay or leave. She was in an awkward dilemma for a while. Of course, she would not choose to call the police, because she also knew that it was useless to call the police, because the responsibility was all on their side. Zhang Xiaohui whispered in her ear, Linlin, take the child to see a doctor first. Leave it to me. When my cousin comes, I will ask him to teach Qin Haodong a good lesson and avenge you. Geng Minghui, the class monitor in their junior high school and the convener of today's party, was the son of Zhang Xiaohui's aunt. Although they were the same age, Geng Minghui was a few months older than her. Well, I'll go first. I must let the class monitor teach this toy boy a lesson. After saying that, Zhu Linlin glared at Qin Haodong with hatred, and then walked out of the private room with the child and Kafu in her arms. After they left, Ma Wenjue said, they finally left. I feel uncomfortable looking at them. I really don't understand why a good Wuxia person would find a big black man. Zhang Xiaohui was suddenly unhappy and cried, what do you mean? Do Wuxia people have to find Wuxia people? Is it rebellious to find a foreigner? Ma Wenjue said, when did I say it was rebellious? It's okay to find a foreigner, but you should find a decent one. Look at you two. He found a black man, and you found a short man with a bow leg. Aren't you shaming us Wuxia people? Being poked at the sore point again, Zhang Xiaohui screamed, Ma Wenjue, tell me today, who is shaming us Wuxia people? Just then, two people came in the door. The one in front was wearing a suit and glasses, looking gentle. The one in the back had a crew cut, a big gold chain around his neck as thick as a little finger, and a big bright gold watch on his wrist. He looked like a local tyrant. The man with glasses was the initiator of today's party, Geng Minghui, the class monitor. After entering the door, he said to Zhang Xiaohui, Xiaohui, we are having a class reunion today. Why are you quarreling again? Cousin, you're here. I've been bullied. Zhang Xiaohui directly pulled Geng Minghui to the corner and kept talking. From time to time, she pointed at Ma Wenjue and Qin Haodong. Although they couldn't hear what she said, everyone could see that she was definitely not saying good things about Qin Haodong. Lin Momo frowned slightly and whispered in Qin Haodong's ear, are these two your classmates? Qin Haodong said, yes, the one with glasses is Gung Minghui, the class monitor, and the one with the gold chain is Pang Cheng. His family business is also very big. What's wrong? Do you know them? I saw them at the land bidding just now. Gung Minghui is the secretary of the county magistrate, and Pang Cheng is the representative of the Pongs group I mentioned. They must have come together after the land bidding meeting. It seems that they have a good relationship. Lin Momo said, it seems that the Pongs group does have a lot of connections in Wufeng County, so I don't think there is much hope of success in this bidding. Qin Haodong said with a smile, it doesn't matter. You have me. As long as I'm here, it doesn't matter how many connections they have. Chapter 122. Dear students, welcome to attend today's class reunion for my sake. Gung Minghui adjusted his glasses, showed a formal smile, and continued, I'm really sorry. I'm too busy at work, so I'm a little late. Please forgive me. At this time, Pang Cheng beside him said, Class Monitor Minghui is now on a meteoric rise in his official career. He has become the Secretary of Magistrate Zhao not long after he started working. He is the number 2 chief of our Wufeng County. He is definitely an example for our classmates to learn from. Hearing that Gung Minghui had become the secretary of the county magistrate, the students present applauded and many showed envious eyes. In a small place like Wufeng County, it was absolutely glorious to be the secretary of the county magistrate, and he would be respected wherever he went. Only Qin Haodong kept teasing his daughter and didn't even look at Gung Minghui. He didn't even pay attention to the county magistrate Zhao Yang, let alone the county magistrate's secretary. Gung Minghui glanced at Qin Haodong with dissatisfaction in his eyes, but it soon disappeared. He waved his hand to the applauding students and said, don't listen to Pang Cheng's nonsense. There are many students who are better than me, but Magistrate Zhao really values me. He is not at ease to leave everything to others. The county just held a land bidding meeting in the afternoon, and then Magistrate Zhao asked me to book a private room in Shirley Xiang to entertain distinguished guests here in the evening, so I came a little late. Gung Minghui said modestly, but the complacency on his face could not be concealed at all. Pang Cheng said with a flattering face, you are the number 2 chief. It's natural for you to be busy. We are all classmates, no one has any opinion. Gung Minghui obviously enjoyed this flattery very much. He patted Pang Cheng on the shoulder and said, after graduation, many of you haven't seen each other for 7 or 8 years. Let me introduce you. Now Pang Cheng is a great entrepreneur and the heir of Pong's group. In terms of ability, he is a promising young man. In terms of identity and status, he is definitely the gold medal child of our Wufeng County. Let me tell you that Pang Cheng is the representative of Pong's group at the land bidding meeting held in the county just now. He is a popular competitor in this bidding meeting, representing our Wufeng County to bid for this land with Lin's group. The students in the room applauded at first, and then they realized that the president of Lin's group was sitting next to Qin Haodong. You flatter me. You flatter me. Businessmen like us still need chief number 2's help to make a living. Pang Cheng said proudly, our Pang's group is determined to win this land bid. After the bid is successful, we will build the largest entertainment center in Wufeng County and even in Jiangnan City. Cheng, when the time comes, the students can go and play, Pang, will be free of charge. After that, he made an expression as if he had just seen Lin Momo. He pretended to be surprised and said, oh, isn't this President Lin of Lin's group? I didn't expect to see you here. I'm sorry, I said something wrong just now. Lin Momo just glanced at him coldly and did not speak. A conglomerate of the size of Pong's group could only have some say in a small place like Wufeng County. Looking at the whole Jiangnan province, it could not be compared with Lin's group at all. The difference in industrial scale was hundreds of times. Gung Minghui said, I just said that many of our classmates are better than me, such as our classmate Qin Haodong, who has become a gigolo to the extreme. Unexpectedly, he has found the president of Lin's group, who is worth tens of billions of yuan. It's really worth learning. After he said this, the room immediately became quiet. Everyone knew that Geng Minghui was targeting Qin Haodong, which should have something to do with Zhang Xiaoyi's complaint just now. Everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Haodong, but Qin Haodong did not care at all. There was still a faint smile on his face. Emperor Greenwood's preferences were completely based on his heart, and it was not the turn of others to criticize him. An ant like Geng Minghui was not in his eyes at all. But Ma Wenjue next to him was unhappy and said, "Geng Minghui, what are you talking about? Who are you calling a gigolo?" Geng Minghui said with a sneer, "Do you still need to say that?" "Of course, I'm talking about our classmate Qin Haodong. When I was at school, I thought he had the potential to be a gigolo. I didn't expect him to be employed so soon." Pang Cheng had already seen Geng Minghui's intention and said, "Qin Haodong really has the potential to be a gigolo. If the rich woman Lin is tired of you one day, then just come to my entertainment company. I believe that the business will definitely be very good. Both men and women can be attracted to you." Compared with Geng Minghui, this guy's words hurt people's self-esteem more and more. Qin Haodong's face slowly became cold. Ma Wenjue said angrily, "Pang Cheng, Geng Minghui, what the hell are you doing? We're all classmates. How can you talk like that? It's too much." Geng Minghui said with a cold face, "Am I too much or is he too much? Relying on the fact that he has a rich woman to bully the girls in our class." Pang Cheng said, "I really feel ashamed to be classmates with such a person." Geng Minghui pointed to Qin Haodong and cried, "There are all kinds of dishes here today, but there is no dinner. Get out of here." The students in the room were in awe. They didn't expect Geng Minghui to be so cruel. He directly wanted to drive Qin Haodong out, which was equivalent to directly breaking off the relationship between classmates. If Qin Haodong was driven out, he would be even more disgraced. Even if he met his classmates again in the future, he would never be able to raise his head. However, at this time, everyone kept silent. Compared with Qin Haodong, they dared not offend Geng Minghui and Pang Cheng. These two people were rich and powerful. Once they provoked them, they might not be able to survive in Wufen County in the future. Zhang Xiaoyi looked at Qin Haodong with a face full of pride and cried, "Did you hear that? Gigolo, as a man, you don't think about your own efforts, but have the cheek to live off a woman. It's a shame for men." Ma Wenjue was about to get angry, but was stopped by Qin Haodong. He looked up at Geng Minghui and the other two and said lightly, "Do you really want to drive me away regardless of the relationship between us? Are you sure you won't regret it?" Geng Minghui sneered and said, "Gigolo, do you still want to scare me at this time? Don't think you're great because you have Lin's group as your backer. This is Wufen County, my territory. Lin's group can't do anything here. To tell you the truth, Magistrate Zhao has confirmed the result of this afternoon's bidding meeting. That land belongs to my brother Pang Cheng. Lin's group can't even think about it." While he was talking, the cell phone in his pocket suddenly rang. Geng Minghui picked up the phone and glanced at it. His arrogant face immediately showed a trace of flattery. "Hello, Magistrate Zhao, this is Minghui. What can I do for you?" "Oh. You've arrived. Let me go to the hotel gate to meet the distinguished guest." "Don't worry, I'll go right away." After hanging up the phone, he seemed to change his face and immediately became arrogant again. He shouted to Qin Haodong, "Gigolo, did you hear that? Get out of here with your woman. I have important things to do." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "Isn't it just to go out to meet the distinguished guest? You don't have to go. I'm the distinguished guest you have to meet." As soon as the words came out, everyone in the room showed a surprised look. They didn't understand why Qin Haodong said such words. In everyone's eyes, Qin Haodong relied on Lin Momo to make a living. Even Magistrate Zhao of Lin's group didn't like him. How could he become Zhao Yang's distinguished guest? Geng Minghui and the other two people were slightly stunned and then laughed. Zhang Xiaowei said sarcastically, "Qin Haodong, you really know how to put gold on your face. If a gigolo like you can be the distinguished guest of Magistrate Zhao, then I will be the Queen of England." Pang Cheng also laughed and said, "Then I'm the richest man in the world." Qin Haodong really didn't want to pay attention to these idiots. He directly took out his mobile phone from his pocket and dialed Zhao Yang's phone number. "Magistrate Zhao, you've arrived. I'm in the number 1 VIP room of the Fragrance Hotel. Come here." Zhao Yang was afraid that his lateness would make Qin Haodong unhappy, so he came to the Fragrance Hotel early. After receiving his phone call, he said politely, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin, I'm still late. Please wait a moment, I'll be there right away." Seeing Qin Haodong hang up the phone, Geng Minghui and the others laughed more wildly. Geng Minghui pointed to Qin Haodong's nose and cried, "Gigolo, no wonder you can cheat President Lin. You're really good at pretending. If Magistrate Zhao invites you to dinner, then I'll be the Prime Minister of the country." He was talking unscrupulously and his saliva was flying. Suddenly, the door of the private room was opened, and Zhao Yang appeared at the door with a smile on his face. After seeing Zhao Yang, Geng Minghui was instantly petrified, and the smile on his face immediately became uglier than crying. But until now, he didn't believe that Zhao Yang invited Qin Haodong. He thought it was just a coincidence. He quickly said, "Magistrate Zhao, you're here. I'll go out to meet the distinguished guest now." Zhao Yang looked at him discontentedly and said, "No, the distinguished guest is here. There's no need to pick him up." Then he walked over and shook hands with Qin Haodong enthusiastically. He said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. I invited you to dinner, but I'm late." At this time, everyone was dumbfounded. Even a fool could see that the distinguished guest Zhao Yang mentioned was Qin Haodong. What the hell was going on? Why was Magistrate Zhao so polite to Qin Haodong? Was it because of Lin's group? No, Zhao Yang didn't talk to Lin Momo after entering the door. Obviously, it had nothing to do with Lin's group. There was only one answer. Qin Haodong's own identity was very special, so Zhao Yang respected him so much. But Qin Haodong was their junior high school classmate, and his family was not rich. What the hell happened? No matter what other people thought, Qin Haodong said lightly, "It's not that Magistrate Zhao is late. I'm early. I have a classmate party here." Zhao Yang said with a smile, "Oh. It turns out that Minghui and Mr. Qin are classmates. I really haven't heard him mention it." Qin Haodong said, "I used to be, but not now. Just now, he and Pang Cheng wanted to drive me away, saying that it was a shame to be classmates with people like me." Geng Minghui had just come to his senses at this time. At this time, his intestines were blue with regret. For Zhang Xiaowei and Zhu Linlin, he had offended a person who even Magistrate Zhao was very respectful to. It was not worth it at all. But who could have thought that Qin Haodong had such a relationship with Magistrate Zhao? Pang Cheng was also dumbfounded. The reason why he went against Qin Haodong was to please Geng Minghui, the secretary of the county magistrate. He didn't expect to offend the county magistrate. It was not worth it. Chapter 123. Of course, Qin Haodong would not let Geng Minghui go like this. He said, "Chief number 2, is this a joke? You just said that Magistrate Zhao has decided to give the land to the Pong's group. Is this also a joke?" Geng Minghui's feet were soft and he almost sat on the ground. His forehead was covered with cold sweat. Although everyone liked to call the county magistrate secretary number 2 in private, this was limited to private address. No one dared to say so in front of the county magistrate. Moreover, Zhao Yang didn't say that the land would be given to the Pong's group at all. He just had some inclination. As a secretary, it was taboo to leak the county magistrate's decision without authorization. Moreover, it was not Zhao Yang's final decision, but he tampered with it privately. Zhao Yang's face was so gloomy that he looked at Geng Minghui and said sternly, "Did you say that?" I. Zhao Yang couldn't deny it even if he wanted to. He murmured for a long time and didn't say a word. Qin Haodong said, "Magistrate Zhao, it's not only Chief Number 2 who talked big. Just now the heir of the Pongs group said that if you invited me to dinner, he would be the richest man in the world." Pang Cheng almost cried. He just wanted to humiliate this classmate who had no background and please the county magistrate's secretary. He didn't expect to lift a stone and drop it on his own feet. Finally, he even offended the county magistrate. As a business group, if the county magistrate had a bad impression of him, he would never have a good life in Wufeng County in the future. Seeing that Geng Minghui and Pang Cheng's past had been exposed, Zhang Xiaowei was nervous for a while. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong stopped here and didn't mention that she was a queen. In fact, she thought too much. As a nameless woman, Zhao Yang didn't know who she was. What was the use of Qin Haodong mentioning it? That was to say, she was not even qualified for Qin Haodong's revenge. Zhao Yang said coldly, "Geng Minghui, as a secretary, you made such a serious mistake. You should report to the personnel office tomorrow and ask them to rearrange a position for you." "Magistrate Zhao, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please give me another chance." Geng Minghui was completely dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Zhao Yang would punish him so severely. It was known that it took him a lot of effort to get the position of secretary. Now it was removed in the blink of an eye. Moreover, things weren't that simple. A secretary who was personally dismissed by the county magistrate wouldn't be able to get any good arrangements in the Human Resources Department. Those people who tried their best to please the county magistrate would definitely put him in the cold palace. He might not be able to get out for 3 to 5 years. And the one who brought all of this was Qin Haodong, the classmate he ridiculed for living off a woman. He didn't know that Zhao Yang was scolding him for being brainless at the moment. He didn't know how to make use of such a good relationship with his classmate. Instead, he came to provoke Fu Haiken. Fu Haiken was valued by the mayor and the head of the public security department. He could easily send Fu Haiken to prison. Even he had to serve him carefully. How could he, a small secretary, provoke Fu Haiken? Thinking of this, Zhao Yang turned his head and apologized to Qin Haodong. "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. It's my fault for not being strict enough. It's all right." Qin Haodong took Lin Momo's hand and said, "Magistrate Zhao, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Lin Momo, the president of Lin's group." Zhao Yang quickly reached out to Lin Momo and said, "Hello, President Lin, we meet again so soon. I didn't expect you to be Mr. Qin's girlfriend. Now I see that you two are really a good match. It's really a golden boy and a jade girl, a match made in heaven." "Hello, Magistrate Zhao." Lin Momo blushed slightly and reached out to shake hands with Zhao Yang. "President Lin is really young and promising. Your Lin's group is powerful. I've seen the bidding documents just now. Although the results haven't been transmitted, other bidders are not as competitive as you. After all, the strength is there. Basically, that piece of land belongs to your Lin's group." After Zhao Yang finished speaking, Pang Cheng's face suddenly turned pale. In order to bid for this land, their Pang's group paid a great price. He didn't expect that it would be ruined because of a classmate party. If his father, Pang Wenkai, knew the truth of the matter, he would break his legs. Lin Momo was happy. She had no hope for this bidding, but she didn't expect to win it so easily. She said, "Thank you very much, Magistrate Zhao." At the same time, she was also secretly surprised. How could Qin Haodong have such a great influence? Just because she was Qin Haodong's girlfriend, Zhao Yang directly made a decision. Not only was she surprised, but everyone in the room was also stunned. Just now, they thought that he was just a gigolo who lived off a woman. They didn't expect that he could directly influence the county magistrate's decision. First, he fired the arrogant Geng Minghui, and now he took away the land bidding of Pang's group. This was a completely amazing reversal, which was really incredible. Next, Geng Minghui and Pang Cheng left with their tails between their legs. Zhang Xiaowei followed closely behind them. Before the reunion even started, 4 people had already left early. The rest of the people naturally felt bored and left one after another. Qin Haodong took Lin Momo and the little fellow to the next private room and had a very happy meal with Zhao Yang. After dinner, Zhao Yang left. Qin Haodong said to Lin Momo, "Let's go and see Grandpa and Grandma with me." Lin Momo said, "Do you really want to go?" Qin Haodong widened his eyes and said, "What do you mean by really want to go? Didn't we have a deal? If you don't go back with me to see Grandma, she will force me to go on a blind date tomorrow. And Grandma is waiting for you at home." In order to see her granddaughter-in-law, she specially bought several new clothes in the afternoon. "But I'm a little scared." At this time, Lin Momo's aura of a female president had disappeared. She completely looked like a shy little wife. What's there to be afraid of? Ugly daughters-in-law are afraid to see their mother-in-law. You are so beautiful. Grandma will definitely like you when she sees you. That won't do. How about I prepare again and go to your house tomorrow? Looking at Lin Momo's nervous look, Qin Haodong felt funny and said, "Well, let's set it tomorrow morning, but don't go back on your word. Otherwise, Grandma will think I'm lying to her and have to take me on a blind date." "Okay, tomorrow morning, no regrets." Seeing that she didn't have to go tonight, Lin Momo was relieved and took a long breath. Qin Haodong called home and then said to Lin Momo, "It's still early now. How about I take you to see the night view of Wufen County?" "Okay." The little fellow and Lin Momo both raised their hands to welcome his proposal. Wufen County was built around mountains. There were 5 tall mountains around the county. In the middle of the county, there was a small lake called Moon Lake. In recent years, the county's economy had developed rapidly, and the urban construction had also undergone earth-shaking changes. A landscape belt had been built around Moon Lake. At night, many people came here for shopping and entertainment. Qin Haodong came here with Lin Momo and the little fellow. The super good-looking family of 3 attracted countless envious eyes. They enjoyed the scenery around Moon Lake and tasted the local snacks. The atmosphere was happy and warm. Before they knew it, they came to the depths of the scenic area. It was much quieter and less crowded than outside. Not far away, there was a wooden landscape bridge. The little fellow cried, "Papa, let's go to the bridge to play." After that, she held Qin Haodong's hand in one hand and Lin Momo's hand in the other. The 3 of them walked on the wooden bridge together. "The night here is really beautiful." Lin Momo held the railing on the wooden bridge and said while looking at the night view in the distance. Qin Haodong said, "Let's take a picture of our family." Hearing that, Lin Momo's cheeks turned red, but she didn't say anything against it. "Great! Great! Let's take a picture together with Papa and Mama." The little fellow cried happily and then climbed into her father's arms. Seeing that Qin Haodong took out his old dummy mobile phone, Lin Momo opened her bag and took out the latest dummy mobile phone from it. She gave it to him and said, "Use this. The pixel of your mobile phone is too low, and the picture is not good." "You bought it for me?" Qin Haodong asked. "Yes." Lin Momo nodded. "Thank you." Qin Haodong said and suddenly kissed Lin Momo on the cheek. I'm still here." Lin Momo stared at Qin Haodong charmingly, and her cheeks blushed again. Since Qin Haodong came into her life, she had changed more and more recently. Her cold face, which used to be unapproachable, became more and more easy to blush. Yes, I'm still here. Papa, I want it too. The little fellow cried while holding Qin Haodong's neck. Okay, Papa, kiss me too. Qin Haodong said and kissed the little fellow on the cheek, which made her giggle. Looking at the laughing father and daughter in front of her, a feeling that she had never felt before rose in Lin Momo's heart. It was the unique warmth of a family, which made her feel very comfortable. Qin Haodong picked up the mobile phone, and the cheeks of the family of three were tightly pressed together. Soon, a very warm picture was displayed on the screen of the new mobile phone. After looking at the picture, the little fellow felt that it was not enough. She cried again, one more, one more. Papa, Mama, kiss me together. According to their daughter's request, Lin Momo and Qin Haodong kissed the little fellow's cheeks from both sides, and then raised the mobile phone and took another picture. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the side, your family of three is very happy. I believe that you will not be lonely even if you go to hell. Lin Momo was shocked and looked back. She saw 7 or 8 tall black men on both sides of the wooden bridge, led by Zhu Linlin's husband, Kafu. The dark skin of these people blended well with the night, which made their teeth and the steel knives in their hands look particularly dazzling. Qin Haodong frowned and was extremely dissatisfied with the warm atmosphere of the family of three being interrupted. He said coldly to Kafu, do you know that you are very annoying? Boy, you are about to die, and you still dare to talk to me like this. Kafu waved the steel knife in his hand and cried with a ferocious face, your daughter hurt my son, and you hurt me. Hurry up and hand over your stone, or I will send you to see God together. Qin Haodong smiled disdainfully, no matter what you say, you just like my Ice King Green, don't you? Don't talk nonsense. Give me that stone, or I will kill you immediately. Kafu did like the jade in Qin Haodong's hand. His business assets in Wuxia were only more than 10 million yuan, and it had been very bad recently. It had suffered continuous losses and was somewhat insolvent. Because of this, just after leaving the hotel, he had a crooked idea. As long as he grabbed this jade worth more than 100 million yuan, he could live a comfortable life without doing anything. Chapter 124. Get out of here. It's not too late. Qin Haodong did not panic as Crawford had expected. On the contrary, he looked extremely calm. I tell you, this is Wuxia. It's not your turn to be arrogant. Wuxia pig, you think you're great just because you know some martial arts. No matter how good you are at fighting, you can't beat so many of us. Crawford waved his hand and said, brothers, kill him and get that jade. We'll be rich in the future. Hearing his shout, the eyes of those black men flashed with a crazy look. 2 of them looked at Lin Momo's beautiful body and even showed a beast-like light. They all had strong bodies and did not put this thin Wuxia person in their eyes at all. Qin Haodong glanced at these people and said proudly, you really don't know how to live. I told you, this is Wuxia. It's not your turn to behave atrociously. He clapped his hands and shouted, let's get rid of these black men. Hearing Qin Haodong's words, those black men who were about to rush up immediately stopped and looked back. They didn't know when, but 6 black shadows appeared silently behind them. Saber looked at Crawford and smiled. You guys have no brains. How dare you think about the boss? You must die today. Crawford was also shocked by the sudden appearance of 6 people, but he did not care too much. After all, they still had more people on their side, and they had weapons in their hands. He shouted again, brothers, let's get rid of these Wuxia pigs together. Hearing his order, these black men immediately started. A black man nearly 2 meters tall raised his dagger with a cold light in his hand and stabbed it fiercely toward Saber's chest. Saber slightly sidestepped the dagger, and then suddenly punched out, hitting the black man's chest with a bang. Crack! With a harsh bone-cracking sound, the black man, who weighed more than 100 kilograms, was punched and flew, slamming into the wooden bridge railing behind him. At the same time, several other people of the divine mercenaries also started to fight. They were all experienced masters, and these black men were just strong. How could they be their opponents? There was no room for resistance at all. In the blink of an eye, everyone was knocked down to the ground, leaving only Crawford standing next to him. Crawford was shocked. He didn't expect Qin Haodong and his men to be so powerful. His men were all easily knocked down to the ground. "Don't move, or I'll shoot him dead." This guy took out a black pistol and pointed it at Qin Haodong. In his opinion, Qin Haodong was the leader of these people. As long as he took Qin Haodong hostage, Saber and the others could do nothing to him. Unexpectedly, as soon as he finished speaking, a black shadow in the night coiled towards his right hand like a snake, and with a smack, the pistol fell to the ground. "Black Devil, my boss said that this is not a place for you to behave atrociously." It was Whip. After knocking off the pistol in Crawford's hand, he lifted his foot and kicked Crawford's lower abdomen, directly kicking Crawford to the ground. Masters were masters. Ordinary people like Crawford, even if they had guns in their hands, could not pose a threat to them. Saber said, "Boss, what about these people? Why don't we just kill him and be done with it?" These reckless black devils dared to come to Wuxia to threaten his boss, which made Saber inadvertently show his murderous intent. Saber had been in the mercenary world for years, and it could be said that he had killed countless people. The murderous intent on his body was condensed. Crawford was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He quickly cried, "No, please don't. Please let me go. I don't want that jade." At this time, he was already regretful. This young man was so cruel, but he still wanted to rob him. Wasn't he looking for death? Lin Momo nervously grabbed Qin Haodong's arm and said, "Haodong, don't kill people. After all, this is Wuxia. Killing people will be very troublesome." Although this place was relatively remote, the commotion here had already attracted the attention of other tourists. Some bold ones even slowly approached here, wanting to see what was going on. In this case, if all these black ghosts were killed, it would indeed be a little troublesome. Qin Haodong said to Saber, "Tie them up and let the police deal with them." Then he dialed Shi Kuai's phone and briefly told him what had happened. Shi Kuai said, "Don't worry, I'll send someone to deal with it right away. These black people are lawless in our Wuxia, and we will certainly not let them off." The police were very efficient because the head of the Public Security Bureau personally supervised the matter. In less than 10 minutes, 4 or 5 police cars drove to Qin Haodong's place, and Crawford and others were directly taken to the police cars. These people robbed with knives and deliberately hurt people. Crawford also had a gun in his hand, which was a felony in Wuxia. Even if he didn't die, he would spend the rest of his life in prison. It was very late after the matter was dealt with. Qin Haodong directly sent Lin Momo and the little fellow back to the hotel, and then returned to the traditional Chinese medicine clinic. The next morning, Zuolanji woke Qin Haodong up early, and the whole family was happily waiting to welcome the new granddaughter-in-law. "Dong, why hasn't she come yet?" Zuolanji kept looking out of the window. "Grandma, it's too early. How can she get up as early as us?" Qin Haodong said helplessly. This old lady woke him up at dawn. "Dong, are you lying to Grandma?" Zuolanji stared at Qin Haodong and asked. "No, no. How can I lie to Grandma about such a big thing?" Qin Haodong hurriedly explained, for fear that the old lady would take him on a blind date again. Li Shulan said, "Dong, do you have a photo of the girl? Let us see it first, so that we can be mentally prepared." "Yes, I just took it yesterday," Qin Haodong said as he took out his mobile phone and showed the photo taken last night to his family. The old lady took the mobile phone in her hand first. When she saw the beautiful Lin Momo, she was surprised at first, and then asked doubtfully, Dong, are you sure you didn't get a photo of a star to deceive Grandma? Qin Haodong said with a smile, Grandma, why don't you always believe me? This is not a star. How can a star be as beautiful as your granddaughter-in-law? Zuolonji laughed happily again, and the wrinkles on her face were revealed. Great, this girl is so beautiful. Look at this big butt, she will definitely give birth to a boy in the future. Qin Haodong was speechless. First of all, the old lady's aesthetic was different from that of others. Others looked at the face, but she looked at the butt first. Suddenly, the old lady turned another page and saw the photo of Qin Haodong's family of 3. She said happily, oh, this little girl is so beautiful. Whose child is so cute? The old lady came to her senses after saying that. The smile on her face disappeared. She looked at Qin Haodong and said, Dong, whose child is this? You didn't find a second marriage, did you? For the existence of the little fellow, Qin Haodong had already thought of an excuse. He said, Grandma, this is my daughter, your great-granddaughter. Wait. Wait. Zuolonji touched her forehead and said, don't try to fool me just because I'm old. This child is 3 or 4 years old. How could she be your daughter? It's like this, Grandma. Qin Haodong told the story of his encounter with Lin Momo in his previous life from beginning to end, but he moved the time to the time when he just went to college, and the characters changed from his previous life to this life. Zuolonji and Li Shulan were stunned. Wang Rubing said, Little brother, what you said is true. Why didn't you say it before? I didn't know before. I thought we would never see each other again after that night. I didn't expect to meet suddenly a few days ago, and then I knew I had such a big daughter. Qin Haodong said, Grandma, Aunt, it's enough that you know what's going on. Don't mention it when Momo comes. She's shy, so she'll be embarrassed. Don't mention it. It's great. Not only do I have a granddaughter-in-law, but I also have a great-granddaughter. The old lady laughed happily again, but then she said to Qin Haodong, Dongzi, it's good to have a daughter, but you have to have a son. I know, Grandma. Qin Haodong promised casually. At this time, there was a sound of motor at the door, and 3 luxury cars stopped in front of the clinic. Grandma, your granddaughter-in-law is here. Qin Haodong shouted. Although Li Shulan didn't know about cars, she knew that the extended Rolls-Royce in front of her was absolutely expensive. She said to Qin Haodong in surprise, Dong, what does your daughter-in-law do? At this time, everyone realized that they hadn't asked about Qin Haodong's girlfriend's occupation. Zuolonji then asked, Yes, Dong, you haven't told us her name yet. Qin Haodong said, she is the president of Lin's group. Her name is Lin Momo. They walked out while talking. At this time, the door of the Rolls-Royce opened, and a smooth long leg came out of the car first, in sharp contrast with the black door of the Rolls-Royce. Then a curvy figure and a perfect face gradually appeared in front of everyone. It had to be said that Lin Momo, who was carefully dressed, played her beauty to the extreme. The perfect combination of sexiness, coldness and beauty was simply a masterpiece of God. She was a domineering female president in the company, and an unapproachable ice beauty in front of outsiders. Over the years, she had experienced all kinds of storms and different big scenes. But today, for the first time, she stepped into Qin Haodong's house as his girlfriend, and she felt unprecedentedly nervous. Mommy, wait for me. At this time, the little fellow jumped out of the car. When she saw Qin Haodong, she immediately rushed over and said, Papa, hug. Qin Haodong held the little fellow in his arms, and then went up to take her hand and introduced her to his family one by one. This child is so good. So beautiful. Zuolonji took Lin Momo's hand and kept praising her. Grandpa Li Chongqing also kept nodding. It could be seen that they were extremely satisfied with their granddaughter-in-law. Li Shulan took the little fellow from Qin Haodong's arms and said, Tang Tang is really beautiful, so cute. Hello, auntie. The little fellow said in a childish voice. Tang Tang, you can't call her auntie, you should call her grandma. Qin Haodong quickly corrected the little fellow's mistake. Why? It's obviously auntie. The teacher said that auntie is younger than grandma. Tang Tang said with a serious face. After the little fellow's words, everyone burst into laughter. Although Zhuolanji was nearly 50 years old, she maintained herself very well. She looked like a young woman in her 30s. No wonder the little fellow couldn't tell. Don't talk here. Come and sit in the room. Zhuolanji held Lin Momo's hand, and Li Shulan held the little fellow. The family walked to the room happily. Just then, someone suddenly called at the door of the courtyard, Qin Haodong, can you come out for a moment? Chapter 125. Now Zhu Linlin was extremely haggard. Her hair was messy, and there was a pair of big dark circles under her eyes. Her expression was miserable and desperate. She was no longer as arrogant and domineering as she was when they first met yesterday. Qin Haodong frowned. It was the first time for Zhu Linlin to visit, and the whole family was happy. Naturally, they didn't want to see the disappointing Zhu Linlin at this time. However, since she was already here, the matter had to be solved eventually. He could only let Lin Momo go to the house with Zhuolanji and others to rest first. He turned around and came to the gate of the courtyard. He pulled Zhu Linlin to the corner and asked, what can I do for you? Haodong, I beg you to let Cafu go. Zhu Linlin said as she knelt on the ground and burst into tears. Qin Haodong, I know I was wrong, but I beg you to spare Cafu. Although she looked pitiful, Qin Haodong was not moved. He said in a cold voice, I don't have time to waste with you. I can only give you 5 minutes, no more than 1 minute. So I advise you to stand up and talk. Zhu Linlin originally wanted to be pitiful. Seeing that Qin Haodong didn't buy it, she quickly got up from the ground, wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and said, Qin Haodong, for the sake of many years of classmate, please help me this time. Just this time, let Cafu go. Do you think I run the Public Security Bureau? Do you think I can let him go just because I want to? Zhu Linlin said, I know you are powerful, and even the county magistrate is your friend. As long as you help, you will definitely let Cafu go. Qin Haodong smiled coldly and said, let's not talk about whether I have the ability or not. Even if I did, I wouldn't do it. Don't you know how that black guy got in? He wanted to rob my jade and kill my family. I was kind enough not to kill him on the spot. You want me to save him? Is there something wrong with your head? Haodong, I know he was wrong this time, but he was also confused. Please let him go this time. Zhu Linlin begged again. Confused? That's ridiculous. You can rob other people's things in a moment of confusion. You can kill people with a gun in a moment of confusion. This is Wuxia. No matter if he is black or white, no matter if he is from M country or Neon, if he commits a crime here, he will have to pay the price. No one is an exception. I know all of this, but I really can't hold on any longer. Zhu Linlin cried again and said while crying, yesterday, I took Kano to the hospital to treat his wound. I thought it was just a small wound that could be cured easily. I didn't expect the doctor to tell me that Kano had HIV in his body when I tested his blood. Now that Kano has been hospitalized, the family depends on me alone. If I don't release Cafu, I really can't hold on. Qin Haodong was stunned at first. This result was indeed somewhat unexpected. Then he sneered and said, so what if I let him out? Don't tell me you still don't understand how the child got AIDS. If he comes out, he will only harm more Chinese people, so I advise you to hurry up and get yourself a blood test. What? Are you saying that I might have this disease too? Zhu Linlin said with her eyes wide open. Qin Haodong sighed. Zhu Linlin really didn't have any medical knowledge. He said, it's not that you might have it, but you definitely have it. Impossible. It's impossible. Zhu Linlin said with a look of horror, although I usually dress up well, I have never messed around with a man like Kafu. How could I get this disease? What about your son? Did your son get this disease randomly? Qin Haodong said, let me tell you about AIDS. Although this virus is powerful, there are only 3 ways of transmission. Sex, mother and child, and blood. In our country, the possibility of getting AIDS through blood transfusion is almost 0. Your son got this disease at such a young age. Basically, you transmitted it to him. And where did your AIDS virus come from? I don't need to tell you, do I? Hearing Qin Haodong's words, Zhu Linlin's face turned pale. She felt dizzy. She held the wall next to her and barely stabilized her body. She asked in a trembling voice, you mean, my AIDS was transmitted to me by Kafu? Do you still need to ask? Black people are originally the group with the highest proportion of HIV carriers. In Africa, the country with the highest HIV infection rate can reach 40%. Although your Kafu is from M country, who knows how his virus came from? God, why did you do this? Why did you do this to me? Zhu Linlin completely collapsed. Her whole body was limp on the ground. Qin Haodong didn't have much sympathy for the woman in front of him. He said, you made your own choice. You can't blame God. Now go to the hospital to have a checkup, and then take the time to treat it. The onset of AIDS is also very long, more than 10 years. This is why you didn't have symptoms before. If you keep it well, you can live for a while. After that, he turned and went back to the yard. Zhu Linlin had asked for it. If she didn't despise the poor and love the rich, if she didn't worship foreign things, she wouldn't have today's bitter result. When he returned home, the little fellow had become the core of everyone, making his grandparents very happy. Lin Momo became a supporting role, chatting with Wang Rubing. Seeing Qin Haodong come back, Lin Momo asked, what's wrong, Haodong? Why did that woman want to see you? Qin Haodong told Lin Momo what had happened to Zhu Linlin, and then said, a pitiful person must be hateful. She asked for it. She can't blame others. Wang Rubing said, yes, a good Wuxia woman had to find a black man for a little bit of money. Now, she has lost the rest of her life. Lin Momo said, in the eyes of many Wuxia people, everything is good abroad. The moon in foreign countries is rounder than in Wuxia, and foreign men are better than Wuxia men. It's so ignorant, Wang Rubing said with a smile, she's too ignorant. Those foreign guys are not as good as my brother. Lin Momo's cheeks turned red. Then the phone in her bag rang. She took out the phone and answered the call. As time went by, the smile on her face slowly disappeared, and finally it was covered with frost. Qin Haodong immediately realized that something had happened. He asked, what's wrong, Momo? Lin Momo said, Mizan just called me and said that the group will hold a board meeting at 11:00 in the morning. I heard that someone is going to initiate a vote for the replacement of the CEO. Someone had mentioned the vote for the replacement of the CEO, which was obviously against Lin Momo. It seemed that the internal affairs of Lin's group were not peaceful. Qin Haodong took out the phone and checked the time. It was almost 10:00 in the morning. It was obvious that someone had planned to attack Lin Momo and make her late. Lin Momo said anxiously, Haodong, I have to go back now. I'll go with you. Qin Haodong said to Wang Rubing, you explain to your grandparents and aunt later. We'll take the little fellow back. After that, he said goodbye to Li Qingshan, his wife and Li Shulan. Then he picked up the little fellow and left the clinic with Lin Momo in a hurry. After getting in the car, they hurried back to Jiangnan City. After getting in the car, Qin Haodong asked, "Do you know who is against you?" Lin Momo said, "Who else could it be except my good uncle?" After that, she briefly introduced the main situation of Lin's group to Qin Haodong. As the controller of Lin's group, the Lin family held 50% of the group's shares. Lin Xiaotian, the head of the Lin family, held 30%, Lin Ziyuan held 10%, and the remaining 10% was in the hands of Lin Ziyuan's younger brother, Lin Zhigao. Lin Zhigao had a son named Lin Pingchao, who was only 1 year younger than Lin Momo. Lin Zhigao had been very dissatisfied with the old man's decision to give the position of CEO to Lin Ziyuan. A few years ago, when Lin Ziyuan retired from the position of CEO, the old man chose Lin Momo to be the successor instead of Lin Pingchao, which made Lin Zhigao more and more dissatisfied. However, he couldn't change the old man's decision. He could only make irresponsible remarks on the board of directors and make some unnecessary trouble for Lin Momo. Needless to say, the vote for the replacement of the CEO was also his doing. Qin Haodong said, "Your grandfather is really an interesting person. Why does he favor your family so much?" Lin Momo said, "Grandpa doesn't favor us. He just does things fairly. My uncle is ambitious but not talented. He doesn't know how to run the company except for eating, drinking, and playing. So it's natural for my father to be the CEO. What about Lin Pingchao? Don't all old people love their grandchildren? Generally, they regard their granddaughters as outsiders. Why did your grandfather pass it to you?" Lin Momo said, "Grandpa also told me that although Lin Pingchao is talented, he is too scheming. In the short term, he seems to be clever, but in the long term, he is absolutely not suitable for the development of Lin's group. So he passed the position of CEO to me." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Your old man is good. He has the same vision as me. You are still in the mood to joke at this time." Lin Momo's delicate face showed a worried look. She said, "Although my uncle used to make trouble for me, it was just a small matter. This is the first time that he directly proposed the vote for the replacement of the CEO. I guess he must have something that can threaten my position." Qin Haodong took her hand and said, "Don't worry. It is said that a successful woman has a man behind her. As long as I am behind you, no one can make trouble for you." Nonsense. People are saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is in the front and who is in the back. Qin Haodong whispered in her ear, "Don't mention who is in the front and who is in the back. I don't care. You. I am so annoyed. Don't talk nonsense." Lin Momo said and rolled her eyes at Qin Haodong, but her expression was relaxed. "What's there to be annoyed about? I will help you with this. I will go with you to the meeting later. Whoever dares to make trouble for you, I will kick his ass directly." Although Qin Haodong was smiling and not serious at all, Lin Momo suddenly felt more at ease with him around. It seemed that as long as Qin Haodong was there, nothing would be a problem. Driven by the divine mercenaries, Lin Momo's motorcade was very fast. At 1 p.m., they arrived at the building of the group on time. After getting out of the car, she and Qin Haodong rushed into the special elevator and went directly to the special meeting room of the board of directors. Before they entered the door, they heard someone shouting in the meeting room, "Today, Lin's group is in a life and death situation under the leadership of Lin Momo. If we don't hurry to change the board of directors, Lin's group will really be finished." Chapter 126. The speaker was an old man in his 60s sitting in the front row. He was Zhao Zhongchen, a director of the board of directors of Lin's group. His son was Zhao Hongmao, the vice president who had been dealt with by Lin Momo some time ago. Zhao Hongmao and his son held 10% of the shares of Lin's group. They were one of the important members of the board of directors and had a considerable say. Zhao Zhongchen was speaking passionately and spittle was flying. Suddenly, the door of the conference room was opened from the outside. Lin Momo walked into the conference room with a cold face. Seeing the arrival of the president, the conference room immediately quieted down, including Zhao Zhongchen. Lin Momo didn't speak. She glanced around indifferently and then went straight to the main seat of the conference room and sat down in her exclusive chair. Qin Haodong followed her with a smile and pulled a chair to sit beside Lin Momo. Lin Momo's expression was cold, and the majesty of a domineering female president was vividly displayed. She glanced around sharply and finally fixed her eyes on Zhao Zhongchen, who was still standing there. She asked in a cold voice, "Director Zhao, I seem to have heard what you said just now, but I didn't hear it very clearly. Can you repeat it?" Zhao Zhongchen held the gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose, and his momentum was obviously weakened. Although he owned 10% of the shares and had a high status in the group, he was still not confident when facing Lin Momo. He was just inciting other directors to oppose Lin Momo when they voted. But when Lin Momo really came, he didn't have the courage to say it directly. However, Zhao Zhongchen was also experienced. He didn't directly answer Lin Momo's question. Instead, he pointed to Qin Haodong next to him and said, "President Lin, who is this man? Although I'm old and dim-sighted, if I remember correctly, he may not be a director of our Lin's group. Is he not qualified to attend the board meeting?" Lin Momo said, "His name is Qin Haodong. He is the healthcare doctor of our group. I brought him to attend the board meeting." "What? He is Qin Haodong?" Zhao Zhongchen immediately widened his eyes and his face was full of anger. Qin Haodong taught Zhao Hongmao a lesson that day and made his daughter-in-law, Xiao Lily, squint her mouth and eyes, extremely ugly. Later, Zhao Hongmao took his daughter to do a paternity test and found that she was not his child. He immediately divorced Xiao Lily. Originally, Qin Haodong had helped Zhao Hongmao take off his green hat, so the father and son of the Zhao family should thank him. But on the contrary, the two of them blamed all this on Qin Haodong and hated him very much. A few days ago, Zhao Zhongchen accidentally heard that Qin Haodong had entered Lin's group as a healthcare doctor. He didn't dare to argue with Lin Momo and wanted to find trouble with Qin Haodong directly. However, Qin Haodong had been too busy recently and hadn't come to work. Zhao Zhongchen went there several times but couldn't find him. He didn't expect to meet him here today. Qin Haodong looked at Zhao Zhongchen's fierce eyes and felt depressed. He thought to himself, "Old man, I didn't make your son a cuckold. Why are you looking at me so fiercely?" Zhao Zhongchen stared at Qin Haodong and said, "President Lin, when can a healthcare doctor be qualified to attend the board meeting? This is completely against the rules of the group. You want to talk to me about the rules of the group? Then let's have a good talk today." Lin Momo looked at Zhao Zhongchen coldly and said, "According to the rules of the group, the replacement vote of the executive president must be carried out with the presence of all shareholders. I want to ask Director Zhao, I am not present, my father and my grandfather are not present, why do you propose to carry out the replacement vote of the president? If everything is carried out according to the rules, then I will let Qin Haodong go now, but there is no need to continue today's meeting." Zhao Zhongchen didn't expect Lin Momo's words to be so sharp. He was speechless for a while. He wanted to drive Qin Haodong away, but he didn't want today's meeting to end here. At this time, another middle-aged man sitting in the front row said, "Well, Director Zhao, it's just one more person to attend the meeting. There is no need to be so serious." The man who spoke was Lin Momo's second uncle, Lin Jigao. Next to him was a young man with a feminine look. It was his son, Lin Pingqiao. Zhao Zhongchen said, "Well, since Director Lin said, it doesn't matter if one more person attends the meeting. But as a director of the group, I have the right to put forward the agenda of the meeting. Let's discuss whether Qin Haodong is qualified to enter our Lin's group." Lin Momo said, "Qin Haodong entered the group to be a healthcare doctor. I personally recruited him. You don't have to question his qualification." Zhao Zhongchen said, as far as I know, Qin Haodong hasn't graduated from the medical college. He doesn't even have a medical qualification certificate. How can he enter Lin's group to be a healthcare doctor? When did the threshold of our Lins become so low that any cat or dog can enter? After he finished, several directors next to him nodded again and again. As a large group, whether these people had opinions about Lin Momo or not, the principle of employment still had to be adhered to. If Qin Haodong didn't have a medical qualification certificate as Zhao Zhongchen said, then he would never be allowed to enter the group to be a healthcare doctor. However, Lin Momo had been in charge of the group for so many years. She was not a young girl who had just come out. Although she was hit by Zhao Zhongchen, she still looked calm. After many directors finished whispering, she said, "Director Zhao, according to the management system of our group, the employee files of the personnel department are trade secrets. Except for the management of the human resources department, only the executive president of the whole company can access them. I want to ask, how do you know that Qin Haodong hasn't graduated from college, and how do you know that he doesn't have a medical qualification certificate?" This. Zhao Zhongchen was obviously not Lin Momo's opponent. Once again, he was speechless. Everyone knew that Zhao Zhongchen had his own cronies in the human resources department, but this kind of thing could not be put on the table at all. If he said that person, Lin Momo would fire him in the name of leaking company secrets. Finally, Zhao Zhongchen waved his hand and said, "I guessed it. You see, he is so young. He doesn't look like he has a medical qualification certificate." Lin Momo smiled coldly and said, "If Director Zhao guessed so well, then you can directly guess the recruitment of our group in the future. The Human Resources Department can be directly dissolved." Zhao Zhongchen was angry. "President Lin, you don't have to play dumb here. Letting Qin Haodong enter the group to be a healthcare doctor is your abuse of power for personal gain. Everyone in the group knows that he is a gigolo and has no qualification to be a healthcare doctor." Qin Haodong was not happy. He looked at Zhao Zhongchen and said, "Old man Zhao, a gigolo and a gigolo are two completely different concepts. You can't talk nonsense. Boy, can you talk? Who are you calling old man?" Zhao Zhongchen said with his eyes wide open. "Why, am I wrong? Well, I'll call you little Zhao in the future." Qin Haodong said to Zhao Zhongchen with a smile, "Little Zhao, medical skills have nothing to do with age. Haven't you heard that my medical skills are very good? Although I haven't been in the group for a long time, I have cured many people's diseases." Zhao Zhongchen was the person with the most shares in Lin's group besides the Lin family. He was in a high position. He did not expect to be so despised by Qin Haodong. He was so angry that his lungs almost burst. He said angrily, "Boy, don't talk nonsense. You are not qualified to be the healthcare doctor of Lin's group." Then he shouted to Lin Momo, "President Lin, I don't think such a person is suitable to be a healthcare doctor in the group at all. He should be fired immediately." Lin Momo naturally disagreed. She said, "That's impossible. Qin Haodong is the best healthcare doctor in the history of Lin's group. His medical skills are much higher than others, so there is no reason to fire him." "Ha ha ha ha, the best healthcare doctor. His medical skills are very high. My good cousin, I heard that you're dating this guy with the surname Qin. Have you been blinded by love?" Lin Pingchao, who had been silent for a long time, spoke. He was the chief planner of today's executive president replacement vote. Zhao Zhongchen was just pulled by him to be a forerunner. Although Qin Haodong was not in the plan before, he was very happy to see that Lin Momo's prestige would be damaged through this matter in advance. Lin Momo frowned. She naturally knew that Lin Pingchao had been coveting her position as president. She said, "What do you mean? Do you think I'm lying?" Lin Pingchao said, "Cousin, I didn't say you were lying. But people say that women in love will lower their IQ. I think this sentence is right." Qin Haodong is just in his early 20s. He can't have good medical skills in Chinese medicine or Western medicine. Zhao Zhongchen followed and said, that's right. How can such a person have superb medical skills? I think the president can't distinguish between public and private affairs. If so, you are really not suitable to sit in this position. Qin Haodong stopped Lin Momo, who was about to explode. He looked at Lin Pingchao first, and then looked at Zhao Zhongchen. He said, in order to prove that the president's vision is right, it seems that I have to prove myself. Zhao Zhongchen sneered and said, if you can come up with medical skills that make everyone sensible and convinced, then I will recognize your identity as a healthcare doctor. You also have to apologize to the president for what you said just now in front of the directors. No problem. If you can't prove it, get out of Lin's group immediately. Zhao Zhongchen was full of confidence. He felt that even if his medical skills were excellent, he could not prove himself on the spot in such a place. Well, it's a deal. Qin Haodong said to him, you spent the night with your lover, didn't you? Zhao Zhongchen was not prepared for this question at all. His heart suddenly jumped and he asked reflexively, boy, did you follow me? A billionaire like him usually kept several lovers outside, but he was afraid that his wife would know, so he was very sensitive to Qin Haodong's question. I don't have such a special hobby. Qin Haodong said with a smile, you are out of breath. Your face is pale, your eyes are blue, and you are weak. It seems that you took at least 2 small blue pills last night. What do you think? Am I right? Zhao Zhongchen was secretly surprised. He didn't know why Qin Haodong knew so clearly. He cried, boy, why do you say this? Now I want you to prove your medical skills, not let you talk nonsense. I'm trying to prove my medical skills. Am I wrong? No, it's not right at all. I stayed at home last night. Zhao Zhongchen denied it. Of course, he would not admit that Qin Haodong had poked his privacy. Since you are lying with your eyes wide open, I will take out something that everyone can see. Qin Haodong's eyes suddenly became cold. He stepped in front of Zhao Zhongchen. Before Zhao Zhongchen could react, Qin Haodong kicked him in the calf. Chapter 127. Everyone in the meeting room was dumbfounded, including Lin Momo. No one expected that Qin Haodong would break Zhao Zhongchen's right leg at this time. Wasn't this way of verification too unique? All the directors present were businessmen. It was fine for them to play some business tricks and scheme, but they had never seen such a method of dealing with things without saying a word. Lin Pingchao was slightly stunned, and then a glimmer of joy flashed in his eyes. He shouted, security, security, get this murderer out, no, send him to the police station. Hearing the shout, 4 security guards ran in the door, and the leader asked, President, what's the matter? Lin Momo waved her hand and said, nothing, you go out first. The current security captain was Saber, and these people were trained by her. Naturally, they would obey Lin Momo's orders 100%. After hearing her words, they went out directly and closed the door of the meeting room. Lin Pingchao's face darkened, and he asked in a cold voice, Lin Momo, what do you mean? Qin Haodong broke the director's leg, didn't you see? Qin Haodong smiled and said, don't worry. You want me to prove my medical skills? Now I will prove it to you. After that, he grabbed Zhao Zhongchen's right leg in front of his terrified eyes, and pushed it with a little force with both hands. With a click, Zhao Zhongchen's broken calf was reconnected, and Zhao Zhongchen's miserable howl stopped abruptly. After doing all this, he patted Zhao Zhongchen on the shoulder and said, little Zhao, your leg has returned to normal now. As long as you don't carry cement and sand for a week, there will be no problem. He did this to prove his medical skills, and also to punish the old thing a little. He would not be polite to those who dared to trouble his woman. Zhao Zhongchen felt it, and his right leg, which was so painful just now, did not feel any pain at this time, which surprised him. How about it? Can you prove my medical skills now? Qin Haodong said to Zhao Zhongchen with a smile. Zhao Zhongchen cried, "Boy, you have committed a crime. I have to send you to the police station." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "With my medical skills, your leg has completely recovered. Even if you go to the hospital to take an X-ray, you won't be able to find that it was broken. How can you sue me? That's impossible. My leg is still hurting so badly that I can't walk at all. This doesn't prove your medical skills at all." Zhao Zhongchen was now determined to drive Qin Haodong away. In his opinion, as long as he did not admit it, it was useless for Qin Haodong to say anything. Qin Haodong sneered, grabbed the fruit knife on the plate, and said with a murderous look, "Since this can't prove it, then try my suture skills." With that, he walked towards Zhao Zhongchen with the knife in his hand. Feeling the monstrous killing intent, Zhao Zhongchen was so scared that his fart turned cold. He quickly got up and ran to the door. "Somebody, help, I'm going to kill someone." But when he stumbled to the door, there was no movement behind him. He looked back and saw Qin Haodong standing there with a smile on his face. "Everyone, you have seen my medical skills. After the broken leg was connected, I can walk as before. Can it prove my medical skills?" After Qin Haodong said that, the directors present recovered from the shock. They couldn't help but admire him. They had never seen such magical medical skills. They saw Zhao Zhongchen's leg just now. It had become a V shape. They didn't expect that the young man in front of them could connect it easily, and he just ran as fast as a rabbit. Magic doctor. What a magic doctor. I have lived for so many years, but I have never seen such magical medical skills. It's amazing. It's a waste of talent for such superb medical skills to be a healthcare doctor in our group. Magic doctor, my arm was injured a few years ago. I don't dare to use it now. Can you help me?" A middle-aged director wearing glasses came to Qin Haodong and said. "That's easy. It's a matter of minutes." Qin Haodong said as he pulled the sensible injured arm and gently massaged it a few times. Then he said, "Well, your arm has healed." "Really?" The director still couldn't believe it. He waved his arm a few times and it was so vigorous that he immediately shouted, "It's really cured. My arm doesn't hurt at all and it's full of strength. Dr. Qin is really a miraculous doctor. Magic doctor, please help me. My stomach is a little uncomfortable, magic doctor, my kidney is a little weak. Can you help me take care of it? Can you guarantee that I can do it 3 times a night, magic doctor, my hair is going to fall out. Can you let me grow it back?" All the directors present were rich, but it was hard to find a good doctor. Now after seeing Qin Haodong's magical medical skills, they immediately surrounded him in the middle and went forward to ask for medical treatment. Zhao Zhongchen got up from the ground and looked embarrassed. Now without him saying anything, everyone had completely believed in Qin Haodong's medical skills. Lin Pingchao's face was gloomy. He originally wanted to reduce Lin Momo's prestige in the board of directors by driving Qin Haodong away. Now it not only failed, but also had the opposite effect. He looked at Lin Zhigao next to him. Lin Zhigao understood and shouted to the noisy directors, "Directors, we are holding a board meeting. Please go back to your seats." Hearing the shout, the directors reluctantly returned to their seats, but they all left Qin Haodong's contact information and said that they would find him for treatment after the meeting. At this time, Zhao Zhongchen also returned to his seat, but he was much more embarrassed than he had been just now. Lin Pingchao looked at him and said, "Director Zhao, have you forgotten what today's topic is?" Zhao Zhongchen remembered that the main purpose of today was not Qin Haodong, but to initiate a vote to change the president. He tidied up his messy clothes, cleared his throat and said, "As a director of the group, I think what the current president Lin Momo has done is not in line with the interests of everyone, and has brought great losses to Lin's group. So I suggest that you initiate a vote to change the president." As soon as his voice fell, a director immediately retorted, Director Zhao, I don't understand what you mean. Since the president took charge of Lin's group, the profits of the group have doubled in the past 3 years. How can it not be in line with the interests of everyone, and how can it bring losses to Lin's group? Lin Momo had been in charge of Lin's group for so many years, naturally she had her loyal supporters, and this director was one of them. Director Zhao, since I have been the president of Lin's group, I dare not say that I have made great contributions, but I have definitely helped the directors here to make a lot of money. I don't know what you mean by this. Is it not in line with the interests of the group just because I removed your son from the position of vice president? After Lin Momo and the director finished talking, the others present nodded. They were all businessmen, and the most important thing was interests. Lin Momo did help them make a lot of money over the years, which was very recognized by everyone. At the same time, they also knew that Lin Momo removed Zhao Hongmao from the position of vice president, so in their view, Zhao Zhongchen was taking revenge in public. At this time, Zhao Zhongchen had calmed down from the panic just now. He sneered and said, I'm an old man who can't distinguish between public and private affairs. I have my reasons for saying so today. Lin Momo had a bad feeling, but she still said, then I don't understand. Let's talk about my recent performance. The raw gemstone exhibition that our Lin's group is holding has achieved unprecedented good results, and the sales have refreshed the performance record since the establishment of Lin's group. Yesterday, I went to Wufeng County and finalized a piece of land that our Lin's group likes, and immediately built the group's jade industrial base. I think this is all my performance. If someone else was the president, it would be impossible to do so perfectly. After she finished speaking, many of the directors present began to applaud. Obviously, they very much agreed with Lin Momo's achievements. In particular, the ongoing raw gemstone exhibition completely defeated the old rival Feng's group, which made the directors also feel proud. Zhao Zhongchen sneered. After the meeting quieted down, he said, because of what you have done, Lin's group has fallen into an irrecoverable situation. Lin Momo frowned and asked, what do you mean? What do I mean? The Jade Gang in Myanmar has been very dissatisfied with our Lin's group recently. They have just issued a notice to the marketing department to stop all jade sales to Lin's group. Zhao Zhongchen seemed to have regained the initiative. He raised his voice and said, 80% of our Lin's group's industry is jade. If the Jade Gang stops the supply of raw gemstones to us, it will be a devastating blow. If you don't hold this raw gemstone exhibition, our inventory may be able to support for a while, but now the original accumulation of raw gemstones has been sold out by you. How can Lin's group continue to sell? Are we going to starve? After hearing his words, there was a commotion in the meeting room, and all the directors were not calm. This news was absolutely devastating to Lin's group. If the supply of raw stones from Burma to Lin's group was stopped, then Lin's group would really close down. Only Lin Zhigao and Lin Pingchao sat there with a very calm expression. On the contrary, there was an imperceptible smile on their lips. At this time, Lin Momo already knew where Zhao Zhongchen's confidence in initiating the vote for the replacement of the president came from. It turned out that the problem was the Jade Gang in Myanmar, but this dilemma seemed to be really unsolvable. She asked with a sullen face, is this news accurate? Zhao Zhongchen said affirmatively, of course it is accurate. The purchasing department has received an official notice from the Jade Gang in Myanmar. At the same time, I have also asked. The inventory of our Lin's group can only support for 3 months at most. After 3 months, we will close down. Lin Momo asked, why? We have been cooperating with the Jade Gang for many years and have always had a good relationship. Why did they stop the supply of raw gemstones to us? Did you explain the reason? The reason is that the reason why the Jade Gang terminated the cooperation with Lin's group is entirely because of you and Qin Haodong. Zhao Zhongchen looked more and more proud and continued, Qin Haodong destroyed a big business of the Jade Gang a few days ago, causing them heavy losses. And the Jade Gang knew that Qin Haodong was an employee of our Lin's group and had a deep relationship with the current president, so they angrily stopped the supply of raw gemstones to us. Speaking of this, he turned to the other directors and said, Zhou Tianhu, the leader of the Jade Gang, said that it is easy to restore the supply of raw gemstones to Lin's group. There are only two conditions. First, send Qin Haodong to the Jade Gang. Second, let Lin Momo give up the position of president, otherwise the cooperation with Lin's group will be terminated forever. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.